It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Good Friday afternoon to you, and we welcome you in for Friday, September 3rd, 2021, and this Friday football fiesta, it begins now. I need football on our television right now after last night, a little bit like the heroin addict. I don't want it just in one arm. I want to mainline it in both arms and between my big toe and the second toe. I need football back on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Last night was fun, wasn't it? It was a lot of games out there. I think Tennessee checked a lot of boxes last night. I really do. We'll talk a lot more about that today. And of all things, to my friends in OHIO, I'm here to defend you today. I thought Ohio State had a good win last night, Bryant Dacus. I mean, on the road at the noted boat rower, and a good representative Minnesota team ahead. Ohio State fought back. I'm here to defend Buckeyes today.
Man, aren't their receivers just so athletic?
And that quarterback's going to come along, and they've got the personnel. And Minnesota jumped on them. It was so much last night. We welcome you in. Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, will not be with us today. And you're not going to hear him tomorrow night on the Tiger game either. Long planned. I mean, long planned. Big family wedding that was delayed last year because of COVID, how it interrupted all of our lives. It's this year. We wish the bride, the groom, and all the family that's coming in and friends coming in from near and far, so much best wishes and fun for the weekend that I know they're going to have. Dave's really been excited for it. Congratulations to all of them, to Gail, the mother of the bride, and to all the family members. We wish you the very best. And Dave will be back with us on Wednesday after observance of Rosh Hashanah into Monday and Tuesday. And we're out totally in this time slot on Monday. We'll go from Fox Sports Radio at 3 o'clock after the happy hour. We'll go to Fox Sports Radio after the happy hour and then into Ole Miss football at 5 o'clock Monday. I am ready for Monday, where I will be at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta for Ole Miss in Louisville tomorrow afternoon. In that very same stadium, it'll be Alabama and Miami. I think Alabama rolls big. We'll see. We'll break it down with a lot of our guests today. We've made our picks last night in the American, and I sincerely wish the best weekend for Dave and all of his great family. Not a great start for Dave last night on his AAC picks.
No, not at all.
A 1-3 beginning for Dave last night in the AAC, and it was a house of horrors yesterday for Mike Oresco and for the AAC, and that leads into, I don't know if it's going to be my top story or not. It's not, because it's going to be more of a local angle concerning football. But today it just feels like a matter of time. Even reports out there that BYU for sure could join the Big 12 with Texas and Oklahoma still in it. So an 11-member Big 12 as early as next year, and even some thoughts that the other three could come along: Cincinnati, Central Florida, and Houston. I know what conference realignment's all about. And I know what it's not about, but I know how much it matters here. So there's always a basketball quotient to it. It's not in the boardrooms. It's not among the executives. It's not among the TVs. I'm not being mean toward basketball when I say that. I'm just telling it like it is. But here I'm telling it like it is, that it matters to us. And it matters to a lot of other places too. But it matters to us a great deal here. And any idea of a warmed-over Conference USA with some of the Sun Belt here and a dash of the old Conference USA there into a new American, I think it's warmed-over slop for basketball. And for football, I can make a case that it would look pretty good. You maybe bring in Louisiana Tech, bring in Louisiana. That's used to be Southwest Louisiana, then Louisiana Lafayette, but they don't want to be called all that now. Louisiana with Billy Napier. Maybe do the UAB thing again. Maybe do the Southern Miss thing again. All that has some local appeal to it for sure for football, and maybe some of those Southern Miss and UAB for a little bit of basketball. nationwide, what you're losing in basketball in Cincinnati and Houston, you can't make up with that.
No. I mean, it's a huge blow for basketball if this does come to fruition. But some other teams, I think if you're Mike Oresco and this does happen and you lose those 3 teams, I think you've got to look at Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State. Try to bring them in for football.
Oh, so I like that, Brian. So just no pretense around it. Just go all football. Don't even worry about kind of drag along football right now or basketball right now.
I think right now you're seeing across the country everyone is focusing on football. Nobody is really
it's a football dynamic.
Yeah, nobody's really. Basketball is the second thought. Football is what everyone is focusing on right now. You're not seeing Texas and Oklahoma come in for basketball. You're seeing them come in for football.
Third thought. First is money.
Oh, absolutely.
Second is football.
Yes.
and they kind of go hand in glove. So we will discuss the ramifications, repercussions from that. It feels like it's moving fast for sure. I do like this idea of a Mountain West being incorporated into current AAC. That potentially could work. It certainly could but that's a long way to travel for the proverbial to play baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you're going cross country at that point.
Well, you are, and it could be time, even though it would hurt you more in basketball for this move. I would hate to do it because I loved bringing them back in, even for primarily men's basketball. For me, back to the day of the Missouri Valley when in the 70s when I first became a Tigers basketball fan. But I think at this point, you got to tell Wichita State, Navy, good luck. We got to have you playing everything or nothing. We got to have a real conference. We got to have everybody doing the same thing at the same time. And I don't think the hope of maybe getting into an expanded Big 12 that's really Big 16 will happen because even now with just 10 with Oklahoma and Texas, they don't like splitting that pie up like they're already doing. They're not going to like it for losing those 2 and bringing in 4 more. I just don't think they're producing the money to split it up anymore.
And my biggest question about this is, what do you think some of these other Big 12 teams, I mean, we've heard about them coming after Houston and Cincinnati. What are the Kansases and the Oklahoma States thinking about this move?
Well, I think Kansas is thinking about everything through the prism of basketball mostly, and for the dire condition that they have football in right now, they have to. Kansas State, they don't have any power. They can't force any will, so they just are kind of adrift like a lot of them, just having to fall wherever the wind blows you, and however it shakes out, but. The stories today is it's moving really fast, and BYU could as early as next year. I don't think, and I did at the first bombshell at the nuclear bomb dropped in at SEC Media Days. I did think, and I said from people telling me that it would happen, that OU and Texas would join for next year. I don't think that's going to happen anymore, and I'm even told that the SEC 2022 football schedule could be released in the next week to 10 days.
Oh, wow.
And we're still waiting on all the dates and times for men's basketball for conference for SEC for this coming year. But that football could fly here soon. But 23 could happen. But if it's moving at the warp speed that now a lot of credible people, and I just don't think they all could be wrong, that they are reporting, and I mean, real industry insiders with great sourcing, all saying that BYU could join for football as early as next year, and the other 3, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati, could come along pretty quickly too. That's the collapse. I don't know that the SEC. They are. That's what they're wishing. That's what they want, because then that moves OU and Texas in fast, and it gets them out of some huge payments they would have to make. So a lot going on the field and off the field. UCF. Did they save one of the worst days in known conference history by coming back and winning late? Or were you sitting there kind of rooting against them on the day they got 1 foot out the door?
I was kind of rooting against them, I'm not going to lie. It was ugly there at first. I mean, I was thinking this is the worst possible, first game you could have if you're Gus Malzahn. But I was really impressed by Dylan Gabriel last night.
Boy, Twitter wrote old Gus Bus off early last night.
Yeah, they
all
did.
the memes and all the shots they were taking at him, and Gus, he spun a web late in that game, and they came back and won. It was tough for me all night to figure out who I was really for in that game. Had a huge upset in the American Athletic Conference, and I warned about that game. Do you remember?
You did, and actually, you didn't tell me personally. I came in and Jay Morgan was doing lines for Johnny's show earlier, and he was showing me them. I said, you've got this game, and he said, yeah, Stats told me to put that one.
It's just that easy out there.
I said, wow, okay.
That's how I make it rain with people. I did like every year, especially on that Thursday night. There's that Hofstra over Maryland. I mean, in 1 year, I was an eyewitness to it. It wasn't on a Thursday night. It was on a bright, sunshiny Saturday afternoon. Jacksonville State over Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Every year, one of those FCS teams gets that upset, and I did not know Tulsa was going to have the suspensions from the bowl game.
Yeah.
That even helped.
Yeah, that came out late last night.
That came out, as the cool kids say, that dropped late. and I didn't know that was going to occur. I just didn't think Tulsa was very good last year, even playing in the AAC championship game, and then that dreadful bowl performance they put in against State down at the Armed Forces Bowl. And Cal Davis, one of those teams with a credible coach in Danny Hawkins, is at Boise, was here in a wild AutoZone Liberty Bowl in 2004 with Boise State. It didn't work out for him at Colorado. I was just taking it as a flyer. Really loved the 23.5 points. But even said it wouldn't surprise me, and it didn't when they won the game 19-17 against Tulsa. We've got a lot of football talk today. We will every Friday during football season as part of the Friday Football Fiesta. Coming up at 3:30, Alan Bell from CBS Sports will join us. He'll handicap a lot of the games, and he'll try to find an upset or two. We'll talk Tigers and Nichols. Finally, a line out on that game. 25 points.
That's a big number.
That is a gigantic number. That's a big number for anybody playing anybody,
yeah.
isn't it?
I mean, that's you haven't seen many games this week with that big of a line, even with it being an FCS opponent. That's big.
And yesterday, I know when I was talking about FanDuel, I said, take that 35 or so against Bowling Green and hold on for dear life.
Oh, man.
And if you did, that's what you were doing late because Tennessee was firing at
Yeah.
you. I mean, it knocked years off people's lives that had either side last night on that one. So we'll talk with Alan Bell, then we'll talk Tigers and Nichols at 4 o'clock from the goal sheet. A Friday staple for sure with us. Bruce Marshall joins us. Tim Doolin on baseball. Glenn Rogers, high school football. Greg Gaston couldn't be with us yesterday. He will be with us today to talk Tigers. A lot of Tiger conversation. And then at 5:30 for the last 3 or 4 years now, what we've been doing on Friday, and we will do it again this year all through September, October, November, and December. Our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast where we pick selected games, and we so appreciate them being back with us again this year. Look forward to that at 5:30. And we want your texts. We want your calls on any upsets, any conversation, any takes going into the weekend. Give us your lock and shock out there on the weekend. Give us your lock and upset for this weekend at the AutoZone text line at 901-360-8255 or the AutoZone phone line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone at AutoZone. So a lot to cover today. Baseball last night. Some interesting games. Oakland got out there to the big lead yesterday and held on. And now this weekend, Labor Day weekend, I say the summertime holidays are where you really need to kind of take a real hard look at the standings. After Memorial Day, after 4th of July, after Memorial Day is about a quarter away through, after July 4th is about half, and then after Labor Day, and then the one that really matters comes up.
Yeah.
The one after the end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that really matters. And so we will talk some baseball as well today, and we want your input, and we want where you're going to go this weekend, what kind of fun you're going to have with college football, and tonight with high school football in the area. College football, it's back, and I love telling you about FanDuel Sportsbook. They're making Week 1 even more exciting. Right now, all customers get a risk-free bet on any Week 1 game. I gave you the winner last night with Bowling Green. I'll give you another winner for Sunday night. Take Mike Norvell and Florida State plus the points. I'm not calling a straight-up upset. Might have to hang on and just win that one by that half they have out there. But I love Mike Norvell and FSU Sunday night. against Notre Dame. Number 1 rated sportsbook app in America, easy to use, safe and secure, fast payouts. Just open the FanDuel Sportsbook app and get started and have some fun. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up with promo code CASH to also get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10 unless otherwise indicated. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show every day proudly brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. There are a lot of car dealerships in town, and we're associated with a lot of them. There's only one Lexus dealership, and that's at 2600 Ridgeway. 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2021 models and special lease options, and starting this weekend, the Labor Day Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Year 2 for Ryan Silverfield starts tomorrow night at the Liberty Bowl Stadium. I hope there's a great crowd. It's going to be a fantastic night for football. I'm not close to saying this morning when I was out walking, trying to keep the blood flowing and the weight off, that it felt like football season, but it felt pretty good out there, and I think it'll feel good tomorrow night over in the fairgrounds area for the start of year 2 for Ryan Silverfield. Justin Fuente, he went 3-9 in year 2. Mike Norvell went 10-3 in his year 2. I think somewhere in there, closer to the 10-3, is where Ryan Silverfield will shake out for year 2, but it starts tomorrow night. We all feel like 8 wins in North is about where he would be, and that will be a great year. Again, Justin Fuente, he had the total rebuild. He goes 3-9. Mike Norvell walked into what was built by Justin Fuente, and he goes 10-3. 8-4 last year for Ryan Silverfield. But this year, replacing Brady White won't be easy. Record-setting quarterback, Campbell Award-winning stalwart for the University of Memphis. And maybe some of those, were you at that game, that AAC championship game, Bryant, against Cincinnati before halftime, and I don't mean smattering, I mean lusty booing of Brady White.
Oh, yeah. I remember it very, very well.
On his way to taking a team to the Cotton Bowl. I hope some of those people think over the course of this year, had a pretty good deal with old Brady.
Whew, yeah, they're gonna be really thanking Brady. Not saying that either of these quarterbacks are gonna be bad, but they're gonna have some growing pains.
They are. You got a top story?
My top story of the day is really just the great night we had last night with college football. I mean, there were some really, really fun games. Cap it off with the 2 big ones of the night, Boise State and UCF, which was a close one. Could have gone either way there in the end. And then Ohio State and Minnesota was also a game that, I mean, it was a 14-point game at the end, but still, there in the third quarter, it could have gone either way.
Did you ever think Ohio State's going to do this? They're going to lose?
I didn't think they were going to lose. I had money on Minnesota 13.5, and I thought that they were going to get that done, but they did not.
Lunch next week on you?
I might have to.
You're just making it rain? Way to go,
hey,
Brian.
I'm doing pretty well with these picks so far.
Be careful. It's not as easy as it looks.
No.
It never is. No, last night I was thinking at one point when Ohio State was behind, I said, now come on now, football gods, don't do me like this. Don't knock one of my college football playoff teams out on the first big Thursday night of the year. And then I started thinking, well, my 4 CFP teams, 1 Georgia, no shocker if they lose tomorrow night, is it? They're the underdog. That wouldn't be a shocker at all. Last night, Ohio State, push, scared. Oklahoma won't have any trouble with Tulane. And my 4th, USC, a lot of people are on upset alert with San Jose State in that one.
San Jose State looked good last week.
Nick Starkel couldn't do that to me, could he?
It'd be wild if he did.
Not top story of the day.
Yesterday, in what possibly could have been the worst day in the annals of conference history for any conference, certainly for the AAC, Mike Oresco had to be torn, like a lot of Auburn fans had to be torn late last night watching Gus Malzahn. Are you for him? Do you pull for it in the UCF Boise game? They came back and won. I did have them buried. I thought Boise had them, and they came back and won. But did you pull for Gus and UCF last night if you were Mike Oresco? Or are you sitting there seething at them? I mean, the AAC pride that we were feeling, that we have felt, that I have enjoyed finally having the Tigers in a conference that I had those things. I had that joy. I had that pride. I wanted to scoreboard watch. Now the idea of maybe just ending up in all the other leagues doesn't feel so good. And then Tulsa losing at home, USF just blasted by NC State, and ECU losing to App State. Nightmarish day for Mike Oresco, but I still trust him in these times. But this will be a magical act by him.
Yeah, and it, like you said, it was a rough day, and it's just a wild story coming out. Even the one yesterday, it seemed like it was just minutes after they said these teams are what the Big 12 is looking at, and then Houston comes out and says, well, Houston's 4 going for it, and they're
done.
Yeah, it's done.
They're in.
So that was very wild. My not top story of the day, Trevor Bauer gets another suspension. This one's through September 10th. Why can't they just say he's done for the season? I mean,
it's got to be Players Association stuff.
It's definitely something like that, but it's.
But I'm with you. I mean, I think we were out there after the second one. He's not pitching again anywhere this year, and he's never pitching for the Dodgers.
No, and it's not a good story, and I just hate every 2 or so weeks whenever it happens that I have to see it again. That it's another week. It's a rough story for him.
It is. It reads and reports. Very unflatteringly. Hard to
very gruesome
go through some of those stories.
Yeah.
But I will and I think I would say this. I hope I would say this. If she were my sister, if it were my daughter, he does deserve a day in court, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, the whole rules. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty, but
it looks bad.
It looks very bad.
We're in our Family Leisure studio, where family and fun come together. It's time to get out of the house and get out to Family Leisure. Great pricing on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active. Play gyms in stock and ready for delivery. Markdowns on remaining game room products and massage chairs, hot tubs, going fast. Reserve yours now before the cold weather hits. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. We will visit with Alan Bell. Coming up from CBS Sports, Bruce Marshall. From the Goal Sheet, Tim Doolin on baseball, Glenn Rogers on high school football, Greg Gasson on the Tigers, and at 5:30, our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. That's all we've got planned for you between now and 6 o'clock. Really looking forward to the weekend. And one more thing about Tennessee last night. I said they checked it off. First of all, they won. Second of all, I thought they had a little hope at quarterback. I listened to a lot of the game, and I've got to say, Tennessee fans, I'd love your thoughts on this at the AutoZone text line, 901-360-8255. The end of an era. No Tim Priest as analyst last night. He retired this summer before the season. He and Bill Anderson forever the sidekick to John Ward, then Tim Priest forever with Bob Kessling, and it happens. It'll happen for every one of us.
Oh yeah.
It'll be the last day somewhere. No matter how much you love it, for some reason it won't be able to continue. So they had Pat Ryan on, and he was great in some years with the Titans. I remember him well as a player at UT in the mid-'70s. I remember him in high school in Oklahoma City in the mid-'70s, and Arkansas. Everybody recruiting him. Anyway, he made a great point about Joe Milton. Everything he throws looks like a screaming 5-iron. There's no air under anything. And he said on the broadcast, he needs to hit some pitching wedges.
Yeah.
Because every throw he makes is the shortest distance in a straight line, or shortest point is a straight line, A to B. It's a laser. Put a little air under it. And you would have to think Josh Heupel, the quarterback guru that he's been in every stop post his great playing career at OU, can make him better even in season.
Yeah, and do you think that's a little bit of that is just those nerves? I mean, it seemed like a tight quarterback battle that whole offseason. Do you think it was just kind of low? He had a lot of, he was out there starting quarterback first game, wanting to impress a lot of people.
He did seem amp, didn't he? I mean, he really did, and the whole house did. Tennessee came out and looked great, but I thought Pat Ryan made a good point about that with just a little more touch on it, and everything doesn't have to be a fastball.
No, not at all.
And Tennessee had receivers wide open. Bowling Green was lucky that the margin wasn't more than that. I thought Tennessee had plenty that they could pick from last night, coming out of a 38-6 win to feel pretty good about.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm not saying we're back to the national championship runs, but
No.
I think this is a step in the right direction, and we talked about it earlier on Johnny's show.
Al Wilson ain't walking in just yet.
No, but quick question before we go to break. Do you think Josh Heupel is the answer for Tennessee?
I want to give him time. Don't know,
right.
But want to give him time, and he was a very overachieving player, and he's achieved a lot already as a head coach. He was prolific offensive coordinator in a couple of different spots, including at Mizzou, and then his head coaching tenure at Central Florida, and now in a total rebuild that I think, if nothing else, the lost in the wilderness years for Tennessee football fans is it's got the realism barometer probably set a little more right than about as right as you're ever going to get it at UT.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw some people on Twitter saying, some were saying that Tennessee fans were overreacting, and someone came back who was a Tennessee fan and said, well, when you lost to Georgia State a couple years ago, you can be excited for just about anything.
And I understand that. I'm not going to knock anybody's passion, but I think let's give him plenty of time. Now, it's got a big game next week against, I think, a well-coached Pitt Panthers team. That's next week for the Vols. Last night, 38-6 win, and for Ohio State, they score 45 and win by 14 on the road after trailing. I don't know what all the clamor, what it is around, what it is about them. I thought a good win. When we come back, we'll break down this weekend's games and tonight, Virginia Tech and North Carolina as well. We do that next on Sports Time with Alan Bell from CBS Sports.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy take you through lunch from 10 to 1 weekdays, only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
CenterPoint Energy takes many steps to help ensure the safety of gas lines in your community and shares important tips like the following. A distinct odor similar to rotten eggs is added to natural gas. If you smell it, clear the area and immediately call CenterPoint Energy. Plus, always remember to call 811 before you dig or begin an outdoor project. Natural gas is one of the safest fuels. To find more tips, visit centerpointenergy.com/gas safety.
It's the Home and Auto Bundle Extravafesta Save-a-thon, the annual year-long event where you could save big by bundling Home and Auto with Progressive. So big that we're kicking things off with fireworks, a monster truck battle, a fighter jet flyover, and it wouldn't be a party without the Home and Auto Bundle Extravafesta Save-a-thon dancers. You can't really hear them, but trust us, they are working it. So come for the fun and stay for the savings. Only at Progressive's Home and Auto Bundle Extravafesta Save-a-thon. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave will be back with us next Wednesday, and we look forward to that. And we know he's having a great weekend. Alan Bell from CBS Sports joins us now. He's on Twitter at AlanBell247. They have been putting out the winners, and we look forward to more winners today. If you've got a game you want to ask Alan about, you can call us at 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone phone line, or you can always text us at the same number, 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone text line. Get in the zone at AutoZone. Alan Bell last night off to a fun start. Were you sweating Ohio State?
Cool, I was. First off, appreciate you guys having me back.
Thank you.
I had Ohio State 13.5, so that was a wild sweat the entire game, man. It was nuts. It was a heck of a game. That was fun to watch.
Never easy, is it?
Never easy. Never, ever easy. It's a heart attack every 60 minutes.
There's a reason why they call it gambling, isn't it?
You're exactly right.
If it was easy, everybody would do it, and all those casinos would go broke and wouldn't be near as much fun, would it?
It wouldn't at all. At all. It wouldn't be fun.
And the Tennessee game, I said it would knock years off your life. Either side you had. Tennessee probably easily should have gotten over that big number against Bowling Green, and Bowling Green was able to hang on. But last night, interesting games around college football. Next week, the NFL begins next Thursday night. But for this weekend, let's start with some of your favorite games.
Yeah, so we got obviously a full slate, going. We got a little bit tonight, full slate tomorrow and all weekend. I'll say this. My favorite game, honestly, is Monday night, Ole Miss against Louisville. I've got Ole Miss minus 9.5. The number sits about 10 right now. Look, if you give Lane Kiffin an open night where he's the only game, and he knows it, and you give him a chance to embarrass somebody to do it for marketing and recruiting money, Lane Kiffin's taking that opportunity 100% of the time. They have an explosive offense and Matt Corral, their quarterback. I think they're going to pour it all over Louisville. I'm all over Ole Miss in that one. Saturday, Wisconsin, I've got them 4.5 against Penn State. I think the number's about 5.5 now. It's going to be a tight game. I trust what I get out of Wisconsin. I don't think that they're going to be an 11-win Wisconsin type team, but they're consistent. They can run the ball. I don't know what I'm getting out of Penn State. James Franklin, he could be really good, and we've seen some really bad games, out of Penn State under James Franklin. So I'm going to roll with Wisconsin on that. And then I'll tell you one that nobody's really talking about: Kansas State against Stanford in Dallas at Jerry World. Kansas State's a 3-point favorite, but I think Kansas State wins by at least 10. I can't believe that the number is this low. This is a bad Stanford team. And not that Kansas State is great, but they're going to be a whole lot better than Stanford. And there are not going to be any Stanford fans in the crowd in Dallas.
Before we have more Saturday talk, what about tonight? Justin Fuente still in search of that first big signature Hokie win. Could he get it tonight against Mack Brown and the highly touted North Carolina Tar Heels?
Yeah, I mean, he could. I think either team could win this game tonight. North Carolina's a 5.5-point favorite. And I'm going to roll North Carolina on this. They've got the better quarterback. They've got the better offense. I think they've got the better defense. And I trust Matt Brown in these situations, right? And that's what I do with Fuente, but Matt Brown's been there. He's done that. There's nothing really that's going to surprise him. And I like North Carolina to get the job done. It might not always be pretty, but I think that they do it. So, yeah, tough one for Virginia Tech. But North Carolina's the real deal. This quarterback, he could be an Heisman conversation at the end of the year.
Do you have anything on first halves or overs, unders? You got any exotic parlays you want to mix and mingle with?
I'll tell you this. So I've been working on some data on a correlation between the NFL preseason and college football so far. Okay, it sounds dumb, but hear me out. The first set of games in the NFL preseason, unders hit at a clip of 83%. The first games in college football, the unders hit at 79%, right? So what I'm saying there is that these teams are coming out a little sloppy in the first half, right? So be careful there. It's not going to work on every game. But, yeah, I mean, we saw it last night with Ohio State. We saw it with Tennessee. So I say all of that to say this. You can find some value there. I think that if you look at like a Georgia Clemson, okay, you're looking at a total of around, 55 somewhere, I believe. Yeah, 50 and a half, I'm sorry. I can see the first half of that game being both teams really not wanting to make that big mistake. And they're not necessarily trying to take big strikes. They're just trying to feel each other out. So if you get a first half under 24 in that game, I think you can really make some money off of it.
First half under 24 in Georgia Clemson. Let's go back to, before Brian has a question for you, let's go back to, go to Monday night, Ole Miss and Louisville. That over just keeps growing and growing. It's like they can't get that number high enough.
I know. And I think that goes to show. I mean, I trust completely what Ole Miss is going to do. I think that they get into the 40s, possibly flirt with 50. But look, Ole Miss's defense isn't that great either. So Louisville's going to put up points. Whether or not, this is going to be somewhere in the mid-70s to 80s, it could be. I don't know. I don't know if Louisville will keep up that much. But I sure trust Ole Miss in this one. That number 9.5, 10, I know it's a big one. But, man, I've seen Lane Kiffin do it before. He's going to put every single point on the board that he can.
Well, we know what the national dialogue is going to be Tuesday morning then. Okay, Ole Miss can still score a lot of points, but they can't stop anything. If it goes over and it takes Louisville contributing and getting in the over.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's the tough part is how much will Louisville, contribute to that? They'll put some points up for sure. But again, getting to, 35, 38, 40, I don't know. I don't know if they'll get that high.
A game that I know I'll be paying attention to, probably watching the whole game Saturday afternoon, Louisiana and Texas. A Louisiana team that has looked good every year for the past couple of years. A Texas team, new coach. What do you like in that game? What are you thinking?
Well, I'll tell you this. That's going to be a heck of a game, man. So you're looking at Texas. They're around a 9-point favorite. It was 8 pretty much the last 2 weeks. It's moved to 9 today, and you're looking at a total of around 58. I think Texas wins the game, but I don't know if they cover, honestly. I think it's going to be a pretty tight one, and you've got Steve Sarkisian down there in his first game. I like Texas to win, and, again, I feel like they win by probably a touchdown. So we're talking about a field goal, that can make the difference between covering and not covering, for the Longhorns. So be careful with that one. But if anybody's on Texas, I certainly get it. And if anybody's on Louisiana, I get that too. They're better than people think.
If Billy Napier pulls off the upset in that one and Sark starts 0-1 at Texas and he goes to Fayetteville next week and the potential of staring 0-2 in the face, but if Billy Napier wins, blank check come coaching carousel time.
Oh, big time, big time. He'll be able to name his price and name his school. You're exactly right.
I mean, his starting price will be around $4.2, $4.3 million in 5 years in that job. Alan Bell, our guest from CBS Sports, and they have put out the winners in the preseason. They did ride those unders. You heard that 83% number. Tomorrow afternoon, game moved to Norman because of the hurricane down in New Orleans, Tulane, a 31.5-point favorite. Oklahoma, a lot of people picking Spencer Rattler to win the Heisman Trophy. They will win. Will they win by the 31.5?
Well, okay, so they certainly can if they want to, okay? If Oklahoma wants to do it, they could win by 50. And they're just that good, and they have arguably the best quarterback in the country. Do you know what? I don't think that they do. And if they're up big in the fourth, which we all think that they're going to be, I think they call the dogs off. And I think, again, I'm not somebody that bets on emotion per se, but it's not my emotion. We've seen a lot of heart at Oklahoma. They're painting the field, in honor of Tulane and everyone in, the New Orleans and Louisiana community. I just see it as one of those that if they're up, they just try to just get the game over. So it's going to be tough. They're going to be flirting with that number. because they're just that much better. But you know what? I don't know if I'd ride it. I might just stay out of that one because I could see them trying to just gracefully in the game, respectfully, and move on.
I know we talked over-unders team totals for a lot of these teams a week or so ago, and I'm not really asking about team totals, but I just want to know what you feel about Indiana this year. I mean, they're a team that Michael Penix could be the most entertaining quarterback in the country this year, returning a lot of weapons. How do you like them this year?
Yeah, I do. I like him a lot, and I like him as a quarterback. I mean, he's fantastic. He's athletic, and you're looking at a very well-coached, good, solid Indiana team. I hate that they have to start the season against Iowa. Now, don't get me wrong. If they pull the upset, right, and win that game, I mean, that's a catapult-type game for the season. So they're going to come out fired up. But Iowa's a good team, too. And, Iowa's favored by 4 points. I think the total sits around 46. So you're probably looking at, a 23-20 type game. So I think it's going to be, honestly, who makes the fewest mistakes type of game, right? Like who converts their drives into points. Does it always have to be touchdowns? Field goals are going to matter in a game like this. So, whoever is 100% from field goals, whoever, can convert 1 to 2 touchdowns, an extra one, and find that interception or fumble recovery on defense, I think is going to win that game. But I'll say this, I like them, and that's going to be a fun one. It's not going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend, but it's going to be a great, great football game.
Old school Big Ten football and two coaches what I love about them, just the facts, Jack. We'll let our coaching do the talking. Kirk Ferentz doesn't have a big show and a big act about him, and Tom Allen's the same way. Let's talk about a couple SEC games and start tomorrow afternoon in Atlanta. Miami, 19.5-point dog to the mightiest of the mighty, the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Look, here's the thing. This is going to sound weird. Alabama has a brand-new quarterback, seemingly a brand-new offense. They've got a brand-new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, Alabama does that
New
every
offensive
year.
Line coach.
Absolutely, yeah. Doug Marrone. Alabama changes a lot every single year. But what I'm saying is I still trust what I'm going to get out of Alabama.
Me too.
Right? Miami, I have no idea. Now, they're bringing back, I think, 19 starters or something. They've got De'Aaron King at quarterback. He's a good player, and this is a good team. But I don't trust Miami at all. But I do trust what I see out of Alabama. The tough part is 19.5 points. That is a ton. Don't get me wrong, Nick Saban and Alabama, they show up in these Week 1 games every single year. They generally win them by around 24 to 27 points. So it's not out of the question, but that's a lot of points, man. That's just a ton. So
you like you.
Yeah, that's just a ton to deal with. I might look at Alabama spread in the first half. I think those went 11-2 last year.
Yeah.
If you get them around Alabama -10, Alabama -11, that's probably the best play.
Okay.
Alan, I want to get a quick NFL question in here before we let you go. With the news last week about Cam Newton being released by the Patriots, does that affect your total wins for the Patriots at all?
No, not really. And I'll say why. I think that Mac Jones is going to be a solid quarterback. And I thought Cam Newton was going to be a solid quarterback, for the Patriots this year. But it's going to take more than just a quarterback change. Because look at the division that they're in, right? The Buffalo Bills, we all think that they're going to win the division. They're the best team there easily. But the Miami Dolphins are no slouch either. New England could probably finish third in that division. So, does Mac Jones make the difference, between possibly, making that jump? I don't know. So my answer to that is no. I have them around 9 wins, and I would have that if that were Cam out there too.
Alan Bell from CBS Sports. You need to follow him on Twitter at Alan Bell 24/7. They have put out the winners this year. This is the time of year that we stay up all night and we get up early in the morning, isn't it, Alan?
It absolutely is.
Best time of the year.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Alan Bell with us every Friday at 3:30, and I saw it a lot on Twitter last night. It is the best time of the year, and it's a good time to be at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. So much fun to see all the new All-Star Edition Silverado trucks at All-Star Chevrolet. So many certified pre-owned Chevys. If it's a Chevy you want this fall, kick off your football season in style and head to Olive Branch. That's where you want to be. If you have a car or truck to sell, All-Star will buy it, even if you owe money on it, or bring the title and they'll write you a check today. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet just off Highway 78 at Kraft Goodman Road. Go see Drew. Go see Scott. They'll talk football, basketball, baseball. They'll talk sports with you all day, and they'll sell you a car, too. They'll sell you a truck. They'll sell you a Chevy truck, or visit them online at allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, a little more conference realignment concerning the Tigers in the AAC and a look at Nichols, the Cardinals, the opponent tomorrow night at the Liberty Bowl. When we come back, that's what we talk about. We talk Tigers and Nichols next on Sports Time.
Grab a seat with Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golf is back, and so is Miramichi. And just like every other year, there are improvements. This beautiful golf course sits on 330 acres. It provides more than 7,400 yards of championship-level golf, and the beauty that surrounds it is absolutely amazing. And guess what is back too? It's the Miramichi patio. Totally redone, revamped bathrooms, a full service bar, and on weekends, there'll be bands. Oh, by the way, 2 TVs, and it's now open to the public. You don't even have to play golf to catch the view from the Miramichi patio. But if you do want to play some golf, have we got deals for you? Senior golf for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday down to $30. The standard weekday rates, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as low as $32. Even on the weekends, it's under $50, and you get golf balls on the range. Play the most beautiful golf course in all of Shelby County. Go check out Miramichi.
From biscuit sammies to omelets to pancakes to just about anything else you dream of for breakfast or lunch, the place to go is Sunrise on Jefferson. You've heard all your friends talking about it. Now come try Sunrise for yourself. And if you can't get to Sunrise, remember, for breakfast or lunch, Sunrise Catering can always bring it to you. And by the way, we hate being closed on Mondays, and we're hiring team members to serve you again. So if you're hungry for the perfect breakfast or lunch, come to Sunrise. And if you're looking to join a crew that loves their customers, well, that's Sunrise too.
Hey everybody, it's Rick Earwood, and you know in my day I've bought several homes, and nothing can be more overwhelming and time-consuming than trying to secure financing. Let me steer you in the direction of Tommy Cotham at Bartlett Mortgage, a guy that's been originating loans for 25 years in the greater Memphis area. Tommy does all products, conventional, FHA, USDA, VA. Maybe you're wanting to stay in your home now and just refinance. He can do that as well. So hey, go ahead, give Tommy a call at 901-335-7308. Get your pre-approval so you'll know what you can spend, find your home, and then pack your boxes and get ready to move. It's that easy with Tommy Cotham at Bartlett Mortgage. Call him today at 901-335-7308. Once again, that number, 901-335-7308. Tell him Rick told you to call.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
It's finally time to get out of the house. So make sure you stop by Family Leisure with great prices on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active with play gyms, in stock, ready for delivery. And by the way, installation from the pros, I always recommend that. Markdowns on remaining game room products and those beautiful massage chairs. And the hot tubs, they're going fast. Get out of the house and get to Family Leisure. Wooden Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Noseworthy.
Finally, football time tomorrow night at Liberty Bowl Stadium for the Tigers. I hope there's a big crowd. Hope there's a great crowd having a lot of fun all day along Tiger Lane. What time are you getting out there, Bryant?
6 o'clock game. I'll probably get out there 3:34.
Why are you waiting so late?
Too much good football on TV.
It's a lot of good football, but I bet there'll be TV setups along Tiger Lane. I bet if you find the right
That's
right
true.
tailgate area.
That's true.
You could get out there. I wonder how early can you go? What's the earliest you can get there?
I'm not sure. I know they let it out. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Because it will be plenty people ready to get out tomorrow. As best you can. First of all, try to make sure you know of vaccination status of hopefully plenty are, or you run the risk, and you run a great risk. But I hope people enjoy tomorrow. I know it looked like last night at Tennessee, those people were just glad to be back at the stadium. There's a lot of empty seats. There's going to be empty seats around college football tomorrow. You see the sale at the Cardinals website today for when the Dodgers come to town. They're doing a $5 ticket. They say it's in honor of Albert Pujols. Yeah, okay. If they could, they'd sell it for $55. The current number he's wearing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't think they're doing it because they're having trouble down the stretch of the year selling tickets. On the field tomorrow, we're waiting to see who runs out there at quarterback. And Dave said that he was told, regardless of the person they decide to play at quarterback, that person's going to have the whole game. It's not going to be substitution. I think if it were Grant Gunnell, they would already have named him, wouldn't you? I mean, you transfer here for a reason.
You would think so, and I think y'all were talking about it yesterday about, are they waiting, are they holding back because they don't want guys to transfer, not just Memphis, but anywhere. I think if you are holding back in this situation, not wanting guys to transfer, I think Seth Hennigan, being a true freshman, would be the one that's going to stick in there and not transfer. I could be completely wrong with these new transfer rules, but I'm very comfortable with either one, whichever one they throw out.
Have the Tigers ever had a true freshman start at quarterback? I know they've had redshirt freshmen. Danny Wimprine was. My friend Rusty Trail was in 1987.
Was Paxton a redshirt, or was he a true freshman?
And did he start opening night first snap?
Yeah, that's the question. Let's look that up.
Opening night first snap, true freshman for the Tigers. I don't recall one. Lloyd Patterson played really early, but I don't think as a newly minted first snap as a true freshman. Glenn Rogers will have insight on that. That's a lot to ask. But we're not making freshmen like we used to make them. I mean, they are college football ready, like rookie quarterbacks in the NFL are NFL ready. These guys coming out, especially if they got in the spring semester. If they went through and kind of went through spring, and I'm sorry, I don't know if Hennigan did or didn't on that. We'll ask Greg. But these freshmen now, they're football ready for first snap.
Hennigan, you said he came in the spring.
He came. Okay, so that even puts you even more ahead and able to make that leap a long time ago. Ohio State fans, college football fans remember this name. It was rather revolutionary for Art Schleister to start first snap, first day, first game at Ohio State his freshman year against Oklahoma, no less. That might have been some of the things wrong with Art Schleister years later. I shouldn't, but I did. And because that's when you not only were you not coming in the spring, you were graduating from high school at your high school back in, Anytown, USA in May, going to your prom, and maybe not even going to your college until about the 25th of July or so, if that early. I knew a lot of guys in those days that had summer jobs up to August 1. You can't imagine a guy doing that now.
No.
It's not any slight on the character of young people today. I'm not saying that at all. They don't have time to. They don't have time to have a summer job. And it's time for me to go off to Knoxville or Tuscaloosa or Baton Rouge or wherever.
No.
You wouldn't dream of doing that.
No,
now.
I mean, it's hard being a high school athlete and having a job nowadays.
Yeah.
'Cause it is just year round, and it's a lot.
And that grind this weekend and over the holiday weekend. I know a lot of people are going to want to cook out, but if you decide to have it prepared for you, let Jason's Deli do it. Jason's Deli, all about choice, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or if you would like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, let them do it and let them cater it for you. All the great food the Jason's Deli way. They'll do all the work for you. What a deal. Locations at Park Place, Poplar and Highland, Cordova and Olive Branch, breakfast foods, lunch foods, dinner time foods, tailgate type foods for tonight, not too late, right now. You call Jason's Deli, you go online to jasonsdeli.com. They will have your tailgate set up for you. Let them do the work. Go to jasonsdeli.com for all the information, whether you need to feed 5 or 5,000. The experienced team at Jason's Deli can and will deliver for you. Park Place over by MUS, Olive Branch, Poplar and Highland, and Cordova. The commitment to variety, value, and quality ingredients means you can feel great about choosing Jason's Deli's catering for all 3 meals. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. And if you're in any of those locations, wrap it up with the complimentary free ice cream. Like I saw many doing today at lunch, I had the discipline not to. But let the discipline slide, and you go ahead and enjoy it. And plenty of organic food to choose from as well with our friends at Jason's Deli. Will be fun at high school football tailgates. 2 weeks ago, I know you have duties tonight at your high school, at Houston High School. You will continue those. That was a fun scene 2 weeks ago, Bryant, when I was out there. That was fun.
Yeah.
And that cheeseburger at the concession stand, speaking of good.
Really?
Very
I'll
good.
have to try it.
Very well presented out there. And while I was sitting there, I texted my friend Don Kitchens at Landers Ford, and I said, y'all did it right here.
They did a terrific job.
Their sponsorship and their friendship with the great people at Houston High. Houston tonight against, help me?
Cordova.
Against Cordova. Cordova really struggling right now. So we will talk about that with Glenn Rogers. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 starts with Bruce Marshall from Las Vegas.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The 34th Annual Memphis Chevy Show, presented by T-Mobile, makes its return to the Memphis International Raceway September 10th and 11th. The premier destination for all things Chevrolet features multiple classes of drag racing, an automotive swap meet, jet dragsters, and more. Get your vehicle registered and enter in a professionally judged car show, or just put it on display. You can also just sit back and enjoy the show. Tickets are now on sale online at just $20 for Friday and $25 for Saturday. Don't miss out on the largest car show in the Mid-South. Go to racemir.com for more information.
Attention foodies, there's a great new place to eat in a great restored building. South Hall Cafe is now open for breakfast, brunch, and lunch in the former Tobacco Corner. Chef Jesus Ramon is creating classics from scratch with a twist. Enjoy all your favorites, including the best cheese grits in the South, a full bar, an in-house pastry chef, catering, online ordering for curbside or delivery, and a covered patio with live music on the weekends. We're open 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays and 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on weekends. South Hall Cafe, corner of Poplar and Mendenhall.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right up and save money like never before at the Sunrise Chevy Big Top 10 event. See high prices disappear before your very eyes. Huge discounts and factory rebates up to $6,000. Bankrupt, slow pay, divorce, it's okay. The Sunrise Chevy team has over $500 million available for immediate financing and wants to get you financed. An $18 million used car inventory specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. See them all at sunrisememphis.com. The Sunrise Chevy tent sale in Collierville. Find new roads to Collierville, partner.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. iBuyHouses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at iBuyHouses 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at iBuyHouses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend, Bill at iBuyHouses, 901-406-1101.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brett Norsworthy.
The man, no myth, but legend, Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet, about to join us. I think he first started joining these airwaves, talking college football and pro football, handicapping games, in the fall of 1992, if my memory serves me correct. And it most of the time, Bruce Marshall, it does. Is that right?
1992 is right, Brett. I'll tell you one funny quick story about that year.
Yep.
We used to do, we talked about trends and things, and we charted some trends from back then. And I'd already been at the Gold Sheet for a while then. But that was one of the years, for a couple of years, we had this thing where we charted coaches who were bald, who were underdogs. And this shows you how crazy this is. And for a couple of years, and Chuck Stobart was one of them.
Uh-huh.
Pat Jones is another. Barry Alvarez is another. They had a great record as an underdog collectively for about 3 or 4 years. And it was like, this is what you can manipulate these trends for. But Chuck Stobart was part of the bald coaches as underdog theory long ago.
Chuck Stobart was a good guy. I remember the night, he was relieved of his job at the University of Memphis after a crushing loss to East Carolina. In fact, if he wins, he would have accepted an AutoZone Liberty Bowl invitation, and it would have been the first time for Memphis to ever be in that game. Took until years later for him to finally be in the hometown bowl. And if he loses, they told him he was going to be fired. Got beat 30-6, and that was the end of him. He did his last coaching show and was a really nice man. And I was at the sports bar we had done our part of the show there, and then his last coaching show. And he was a Big Ten tough guy that kept games close.
He was, and he did better than you look back at Rip Shear and some of the other Tommy West. I think Stobart did more than a lot of Memphis coaches through the years. So he was a pretty good one.
He was a good one. Bruce Marshall, you wrote about the old days and at goldsheet.com. And college football fans, sports fans, you should go there. Whether you bet one penny, you should go there just for the knowledge and down memory lane, the retrospectives that you do so well, and the cover story for 2021, the college football kickoff. You've come a long way, baby. Tell our listeners about what you wrote about and your relationship with Mort Olshan, the founder of the Gold Sheet.
Visiting this throughout the fall, Brett. I mean, it's the landscape of sports gaming, and you guys see it there in Memphis all around you and all across the country, what's happened just in the last few years. The gist of what I'm going to do is that New Jersey deserves all the credit, or some people think blame, but I think credit for making all this stuff happen. But I wanted to kind of go back to the start. I don't think anybody chronicled New Jersey's challenge to PASPA, which started almost a decade ago. As we did at the Gold Sheet, we devoted a few stories each season to it. And in retrospect, it reads really good. And speaking in retrospect, I found lots of stuff Mort Olshan, the founder of the Gold Sheet, used to write in the 70s and 80s, even before that, probably in the 60s, about how eventually these laws were going to change and why sports gaming will eventually get into the mainstream. Some of that stuff in retrospect reads really well. So I recall the Mort story he wrote like in 1984, where he brings up Howard Cosell's old Sports Beat show. And again, brought up sports gaming. I thought that was good. And then the very first story I wrote about New Jersey's challenge back in 2012, which I think really reads really good in retrospect, and has got me thinking to put the whole book together, which I'm doing right now, just to chronologically follow this trail. and in retrospect look at, and I can annotate it some, but it kind of shows the journey New Jersey took, and they deserve, believe me, all the credit, because they had to go about 6-7 years of this. They kept getting knocked down in district and federal court. They'd have to remake their argument. There is not one state that would have had the fortitude to do this, and a lot of states ended up following New Jersey's coattail. They just came behind him, and Mississippi's one of them. I don't blame them for that, but I don't think any state would have had the guts to do what New Jersey did other than New Jersey. And I threw in right at the end a little retrospective I like to do in the first week. I decided Oregon State's playing Purdue for the first time in 54 years.
Love it. This
week, and that was a great upset in 1967. And that year still kind of resonates for us at the Gold Chief, but that was sort of the start of DeAndres' giant killers from Oregon State. I write about it in a big story this week.
Yeah, it was fun to read. I would beg our listeners to go to it. And when you started in Memphis Sports Talk Radio in 1992, breaking down games, Bruce, you remember how very scotched and guarded we had to have the language for news manner only, for information only. We're not encouraging anybody. In fact, we're asking you. I mean, it was all so very careful. And now it's in, to paraphrase Tom Petty, it's in the great wide open, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I can remember some of our guys down in Birmingham on the WJOX, and, they had to stop completely talking about it. And a couple of guys might have lost their jobs because of it. But, I mean, times have changed. One other note, it's worth noting, I think, and I'll write about this too. I don't know if retrospect, the fact all of the major pro sports leagues in the NC2A were joining the lawsuit against New Jersey all the way up to the Supreme Court. They were arguing on the other side to prevent New Jersey every bloody step of the way. And then New Jersey finally got PASPA overturned at the Supreme Court level, which is its own story how it got to the Supreme Court. But it didn't take long for the pro sports leagues and the NC2A to start embracing sports gaming. And I think it's like politicians in a way. A lot of ways, but it's worth remembering that they were absolutely fighting tooth and nail against New Jersey's challenge all the way up to when it got overturned at the Supreme Court.
Bruce, we have come a long way, and again, I tell you, anybody out there, if it's not for you, if you don't want to do it, please don't. But a lot of people do want to, and they have fun with it. But if it's an aversion to you, by all means, if you don't want to, please don't. But we're going to talk about it. We will talk about it, and we're going to get right into it right now with you. Give me your favorite game on the whole college football docket now through midnight Monday.
Fresno State tomorrow, plus about 20 and a half at Oregon. They've got a game under their belt at Fresno. Now, they could have brought San Joaquin Memorial High into play instead of UConn last week. Got the same sort of workout, I think. But the fact is they did get a game under their belt. Jake Haener, the quarterback, looked really good. He was there last year in the short Mountain West season. But he threw for over 330 yards per game last year. And there's a history Fresno has. Back to Jim Sweeney's days, and Pat Hill and Jeff Tedford have stepping up to this sort of competition and playing hard. Tedford is not there now after 2019. He covered all 4 point spreads against Pac-12 opposition, won a couple times. Now, this is Kalen DeBoer's first shot, but the culture is still the same in the program. I am not sure how good Oregon is, Brett. They weren't that great last year. This isn't 10 years ago at Chip Kelly's team. They've got the BC transfer quarterback Anthony Brown supposedly going to take snaps. I didn't think he was that great at BC. They've also got to look ahead to Ohio State next week. And they have not been covering point spreads lately in Eugene, and now you're laying 3 touchdowns. They're a pretty dangerous team here. It looks like a spot for Fresno to be.
Goal sheet says Fresno State Bulldogs plus the points against the Oregon Ducks. You went 3-0, just threw a little 3-0 at them last Friday in my absence, Bruce Marshall, and calling the Illini straight up in that game against Nebraska. SEC, the big one, Georgia and Clemson tomorrow night. Rare for them not to be playing this game on campus. They don't play anywhere for a while, but they do have future series. But this will be the last one, I think, until 2028. Georgia and Clemson in downtown Charlotte tomorrow night.
Yep, and you're right. They used to play this thing every year, and my favorite game was in '83 when the game ended on back-to-back 68 and 66-yard field goal attempts by Donald Igwebuike and Kevin Bumper.
Yeah.
They both missed, and the game ended up 16-16. Anyway, so I'm glad they're playing again. This is big. I think it's actually a bigger game for Georgia because Kirby has fallen short in some of these really big hump games. It's usually meant Alabama for him. But this is the same magnitude of a game. We will find out about JT Daniels a lot more tomorrow night. I need to be convinced about him a little bit more. They did not block the door him leaving at USC. I know he had an injury there, and they eventually uncovered Keaton Slovis. But I don't know, a kid from a high school program that was surrounded by great players like he was, I didn't think he reacted all that well his first year at SC when teams threw a lot at him. Now, I only played late in the season for Georgia last year. I need more convincing. I need less convincing about DJ the other way, taking Trevor Lawrence's place. He had a little test run for Dabo last year. One of his starts, he set an all-time opponent passing yardage record against Notre Dame. That's Notre Dame, who's played everybody for 100 years, and nobody's ever thrown for more pass yards in a game against them than DJ Uiagalelei. So I think he's ready. Dabo wins these games. He's got a great record in playoff games, in bowl games, ACC title games. This is that sort of game. They're also playing in Charlotte, where they won 6 years in a row in the ACC title game. And I think Brent Venables' defense will be better this year. It's more experienced than it was at this time a year ago. Kirby's defense also last year, they didn't really slow down Florida and Alabama when they played them. So I'm not sure how great they are. Anyway, Clemson wins these sorts of games, so that's where we're going. 31-20 Clemson. The real nervous guys tomorrow are anybody who bet a season win over ticket on either of these teams, because whoever loses tomorrow has no more margin of error for an over wins ticket to cash. But the winner is setting himself up really good. I think it's going to be Clemson.
And you're right about those early 80s games. That Danny Ford versus Vince Dooley had Herschel in there, had Tuttle, had the Perry brothers for Clemson, the Bostic brothers for Clemson. Those were some classics. And, in 80, Georgia wins it all. In 81, Clemson wins it all. Herschel only lost 3 college games, did not lose a single SEC game, and one of the 3 to Clemson, the Penn State and Pitt. The other 2. Bryant's got a question about you, for you about the hometown Tigers.
Yeah, Bruce, I know a lot of people are going to be wanting to know your thoughts on Memphis. I think they opened up as a 25-point favorite over Nichols, 25.5. What are your thoughts about them tomorrow?
We haven't looked at that game too much. Nichols used to run the option. I'm not sure if they're doing it now, but they usually haven't been a pushover. Memphis is going to start getting challenged a little bit more after this game. They have not been a great point spread performer when Ryan Silverfield has been the head coach. It started for the Penn State bowl game a couple of years ago, and last year, the oddities associated with 2020. I'm a little bit reluctant to draw too many conclusions from last season, but they seem like they stepped back a little bit, and they weren't covering point spreads as consistently. So I'd be reluctant to even get involved with that game. We saw, like last night, for example. Utah was playing Weber State and kind of went through the motions, then got control of the game. And then Weber State scored really late and stuck in the back door on the point spread, over 3 touchdowns. That's the worry you have when you're laying a big number like this. Memphis could end up cruising. They can be up 35-7 in the fourth quarter, and then Nichols could punch one in, and Nichols covers the spread.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to recommend anything on that game tomorrow.
Yeah, that easily could happen. I've said all summer I thought the first 5 games for Mississippi State was the toughest 5-game starter for anybody in college football. Next week in Starkville, they play North Carolina State. This week, they play Skip Holtz and Louisiana Tech. The Bullies are a 23-point favorite. Who do you like in that?
I like La Tech, but let me qualify that for a second. This has been a pretty good role for Skip Holtz throughout the years. It wasn't as much last year. Again, though, that might be one of those things, throw 2020 out. He had new quarterbacks in last year. At least he had the transfer coming in from Abilene Christian, who didn't get as much chance to get the reps before the season because of all the things that went on last year. The offense never really fired. Also, last year is a brand-new defense after everybody graduated from the 2019 team. So most everybody is back. It was probably the least of Skip's 6 previous teams or 7 teams in Ruston. But they still weren't bad. He's got a good point spread mark over the years as a dog. What I'm not sure about Leach is if we can trust the Bullies laying this many points. I would point out, though, his second year in Pullman with Washington State, things started to click. After his first year was similar to what happened in Starkville last year. We saw a little bit happen at the end of the season where Mississippi State started to get the hang of it. But I think it's a lot of points. And like you said, the schedule's tough early, and NC State's coming up, and they looked really good last night. So I would rather – we took La Tech plus the points, 33-17, our score forecast. When you're getting over 3 touchdowns with Skip Holtz, I think that's worth a look. I'm with you on that. I think State wins the game, but I like Skip Holtz to win the cash. Tomorrow in Fayetteville, Old Southwest Conference battle. In fact, Arkansas, 3 of their first 4 games back to the Southwest Conference. Rice tomorrow, Texas next week, and Texas A&M in Arlington at Jerry's World September 25th. But tomorrow afternoon in Fayetteville, 1 o'clock, Arkansas, year 2 of Sam Pittman begins. Yeah, and I think, we'll see. They got Texas on deck, like you said, and Rice is also, and this is the Old Southwest Conference tour for Rice too. They got Arkansas and Houston and Texas after Arkansas gets a look at it. So 3 Old Southwest games. These 2 haven't played since '91. Arkansas's last year in the Southwest Conference. Life after Felipe Frank starts. Let's see how it works for Arkansas offensively. And the new quarterbacks, they think, might be a little bit more mobile to fit in what Kendall Briles would like to do a little bit more with that offense. But I'd be wary laying this many points. Rice didn't get started until late last year. But when they played, they looked pretty darn good. In 5 games, they could have won all those games. Mike Bloomgren has made progress. The defense was not bad at all. Not the roadkill we normally see. Short sample, but it wasn't quite the same Rice getting pushed around. And they brought in a couple transfer quarterbacks, including Luke McCaffrey, who'd been at Michigan and Nebraska, and Jake Constantine. Weber State threw 33 touchdown passes in his career at Weber State. And their top receiver, Rosner, who missed last year, sat out for COVID, is back. You're almost 3 touchdowns here. I think Rice might be worth a look to stay within the spread. Rice is one of these teams, I think they're going to win one of these 3 games against the Old Southwest start. I think it might be next week against Houston. But they're not that bad. And Arkansas got Texas on deck. That might draw some of their attention tomorrow. All right, you've gone against Mississippi State here in the area. You've gone against Arkansas here in the area. I know you do not like the Ole Miss yearly to go over 7.5. Explain that and your thoughts on Monday night, Ole Miss laying a pretty big number in a neutral against Louisville. Yeah, this one, though, I am locally, I will give Ole Miss a recommendation here, although it, laying a lot of points, a little tricky. I almost think, Ole Miss last year was a little bit like UCF. We saw, I think Gus slowed UCF down a bit last night, but Ole Miss is playing too fast for its own good last year. And I know what Lane wants to do with this offense up and down the field, but that puts a lot of pressure on your defense. And I think we saw too many times last year, Ole Miss's defense was just out of gas because it kept having to go out the field so much, and they got involved in some of those wild games. However, Matt Corral, I know there's people down there thinking he's an outside shot at the Heisman. It's a long shot, but Lane's going to give him all the chance he can. He'll keep the foot on the accelerator. Got a national TV game Monday night. This is also a vote against Louisville. And the Cards backed up last year. They were not as good as Scott Satterfield's first year. Malik Cunningham, the quarterback, too many mistakes last year. Satterfield's taken over the offense again this year, but he's running the old App State offense that just maybe isn't going to work as easy in the ACC. And by the way, he got some people very mad at Louisville when he started talking to South Carolina after that job opened up after last season, after just his second year at Louisville. And there's some people wondering about his commitment there. So all of a sudden they're wondering if that's going to work out long term or not. I think Lane gets him in this one because he's going to go for it. He won't take his foot off the pedal. 48-30 updated score forecast for Ole Miss, and that's even over that total of 75. So Ole Miss a little bit over now. That's some big numbers. Sunday night, Mike Norvell looking for a first signature win at FSU. A little bit like Justin tonight, Virginia Tech. Mike Norvell Sunday. The last 4-year job for Brian Kelly. It's hard to say Notre Dame a little under the radar, but is it as extolled, as popularized as it should be? He's been terrific the last 4 years. He has been. The problem has been in the big featured games when he gets in the
There's
Final
that.
Four, they haven't been competitive, and that's kind of unfortunate that people, at least for the perception of what he's done there. But the Clemson game a couple of years ago in Dallas, and then again in Dallas, Arlington last year against Alabama, they weren't really competitive. So that has something to do with it. But we'll see here. I happen to think Ian Book was a great college quarterback.
I do too.
And I think they're going to miss him. And they've brought in Jack Cohn from Wisconsin, who wasn't all that good at Wisconsin, from what I remember. So we'll see. Norvell, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot going on Florida State last year. They had a lot of COVID problems. And let's face it, the program started to go downhill. This started when Jimbo was still there. I mean, people want to blame Taggart, and then Mordell didn't get going. A lot of this on Jimbo. When he left there, they had already started to slide. But I'm not sure there's evidence they're ready to bring it back yet. Nonetheless, this is still a pretty hefty point spread at home. I'm not sure Notre Dame, as a new quarterback, should be laying points on the road. So it's going to be close. We'd rather have Florida State plus the points in this one.
Florida State plus the 7.5. Is that right? Is that the right number with the hook?
That's what I've seen most spots, yeah.
Plus 7.5 in Tallahassee on Sunday night. Bruce Marshall next week, of course, we'll get into NFL. It begins next Thursday night. Mac Jones named the starter in New England. We'll have a lot of NFL games to ask you about next week. But how can our listeners, how can they find out more about you and about the Gold Sheet?
Thanks, Brett. Check us out online at goldsheet.com. Like you mentioned, we have that cover story. That's right up there on the webpage. But you can go inside, buy the publication, just $9. And we got all these games for this weekend. It's a pretty good card for the first week. Nice games in the Big Ten, too. Some good ones there. And next week, we'll add the NFL to the mix as well as next week's college. All the stuff, all of our publications, Gold Sheet CKO, Gold Sheet Extra, at goldsheet.com. My picks there. They're also at Vegas Insider at donbest.com.
Bruce, one more real quick, and we're up against time, and I probably should have allowed for more time for this. All the years you've followed, all the years you've been a fan, all the years you've covered, all the years you've handicapped. You mentioned earlier 67 was a special year for y'all at the Gold Sheet. Is there a year, if Bruce Marshall could relive this college football season, what year was it?
1975, because I was a UCLA fan, and they went to the Rose Bowl that year. And
Dick Vermeil and Wendell Tyler got them.
Yes, they did. I was a senior in high school, and it was a great year, so I'd love to relive that year again.
1975. I remember that Rose Bowl well. Quarterback for Ohio State that day, Cornelius Green. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was a good one. That was a year that I'm very fond of, Bruce. Bruce, we'll do it again next Friday. Good luck and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Brett.
Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet, 1975. He didn't even hesitate. That was good. That was a good year in college football. They're all good in college football. I was having this conversation, Bryant, with somebody, and I think this person expected me to maybe take the other side of this. And he was talking about peak college football and the best of college football. And I think this person was leading me, not baiting me, but leading me to kind of go, kids, these. I said, no. right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
2021.
Friday, September 3rd, 2021. Peak college football. Best time of our lives right now.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that every year, and I have forever. Yeah, the old times, they were great, and I remember them fondly, but I'm excited about these times.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. And like you said, I think we just have so many athletes nowadays, and the changing quarterback styles where you've got more mobile quarterbacks and athletic quarterbacks. It's just so fun to watch.
And you go out, and the stadiums are so much better. They're so much better.
And the environments in the stadiums.
Yeah, parking's always been problematical. Yeah. I tell the story. I was thinking about it last night, looking at Neyland Stadium, kind of the blimp shot of Neyland Stadium, and we had great family friends of ours that were students at UT in the 40s, post-World War II. And I don't know what Neyland Stadium seated them, but I'm going to say around 45,000, 50,000. And he said, Back then, people were complaining about there's no parking, there's nowhere, and we've always done that. No matter what the gas price is, we've always complained about it. I woke up this morning, first news story I heard: Labor Day weekend and gas through the roof. That's all the time. We adapt, we adjust, and I promise you, a vow to myself and to our listeners and to people I work with. The day I don't think I'm in the middle of peak college football, that these aren't the best times, it's time for me to move away and let somebody else enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's important. us in our business, I mean, I think we're always excited for the start of the new year, and I think most fans are, and it's just every year you have those memories of past years. I mean, I was watching earlier today, I don't know if you remember this, in Justin Fuente's first year, I can't remember off the top of my head who they played, but they had a home game, first game of the season, home game, and it was on ESPN, and they had this great pre-game shot of their introduction where Enter Sandman plays, and it was just so fun to watch, and I was going, man, I remember watching that game on TV. Those were the good old days.
Tennessee Martin.
Yeah.
It was a loss.
But,
yeah.
And then, well, no, I'm talking about at Virginia Tech.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, at Virginia Tech. And, but I was like, man, I remember watching that game. That was so fun, those good old days. But then you think about this year and some of the teams we've got this year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be such a fun year.
It always is. And, yeah, the sweet, fond memories of yesteryear, but right now is really good. And I can't wait to get to Atlanta. I can't wait to go to Georgia Tech, Northern Illinois tomorrow night, and I can't wait to be there with the Rebels and with my crew on Monday night. This weekend, don't forget about the commissary. And if you're craving an easier way to order, this is the easiest. CommissaryBBQ.com or text commissary, two M's, two S's, to 33733. Text commissary to 33733, or go to either great place. The new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. So much great food there, and you can get outside at Houston, Levy, and Poplar and enjoy the games on the big screen TVs. Memphis-style barbecue, that means slow. Start that barbecue feast with great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos, where they were invented in the early 80s at the Germantown Commissary. Smoked chicken wings are fantastic. Dig into the ribs or the shoulder, get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, a gigantic sandwich, or get it on a plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, and bread as well, and the party packs, 6-packs, 8-packs, 12-packs, any way you want it. They got it at either commissary, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Do the almost unthinkable. Try to save room for dessert. I know it's hard, but try. Best lemon icebox pie I've had anywhere, and the banana pudding, just outstanding. 754-5540, 901-754-5540, online at Commissary Barbecue in Collierville and Germantown. Walker Taylor, I know he's ready for his Tigers to hit the field tomorrow night at Liberty Bowl Stadium against Nichols. When we come back, we talk baseball. We do that with Tim Doolin. He's next on Sportstime.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Corky's is your home for authentic Memphis barbecue. Our dining rooms are open, or stop by our speedy drive-thru. Order your party packs today, starting at only $5.99 per person.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
The Labor Day savings inside the Home Depot means something different once you're back out there doing. In here, it's 3 bags of Miracle Grow garden soil for $10. Out there, it's a backyard that looks like $1 million. In here, it's a special buy on a Lillard White bath vanity. Out there, it's a guest bath ready for guests. get back to more doing with store-wide savings for house-wide doing. Only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid through September 6, 2021. Limit 75 bags per customer. While supplies last. See store for details. U.S. only.
At Napa, the more Valvoline products you buy, the more you save. It's like the quantum physics of deals. It doesn't really make sense, but somehow it works. Save $10 when you spend $40, $15 on 60, or $20 on 80. So no matter what multiverse you're living in, you'll be saving money. Quality parts, helpful people, that's Napa know-how. At participating locations does not include state and local taxes and recycling fees. Advertised sale price may not be available in some states. Rebate restrictions apply. Offer ends 9/30/21.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Brian Dake is producing. Brett Norsworthy with you until 6 o'clock. We will have Glenn Rogers on high school football in about 15 minutes. We'll have Greg Gaston on Tigers football at 5 o'clock. Right now, we're going to visit on baseball with Tim Doolin. He joins us every Friday at this time. Dave will be back with us next Wednesday. We will be back with you at 3 o'clock next Tuesday afternoon. No show on Monday. Fox Sports Radio leading into Ole Miss pregame at 5 o'clock. You can listen to me on that with Richard Cross starting at 5 o'clock from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta before Ole Miss and Louisville. Tim Doolin joins us now. Tim Doolin, the Milwaukee Brewers are making it look easy in the National League Central, but Atlanta, here come the Phillies. Phillies making a push at the right time of year. Good afternoon, Tim.
Well, yeah, good afternoon. They really are. I mean, they're really playing good baseball. And not that the Braves are playing bad. It's just kind of tough when you face the red-hot Yankees and the red-hot Dodgers in consecutive over a 6-game stretch. You know, that's not. And I will say the Braves probably squandered one of the 3 games against the Dodgers, and they should have won. But and I watched all 3 of those games. What great baseball, and what a great story that Austin Riley's been for the Braves. To especially I really think he's carried that team since the All-Star break, especially since Acuna Jr. got hurt. And so it's going to be the East, like you said, the East and the National League West are going to be great races down the stretch, and I don't think anyone's going to get anywhere close to the Brewers. And interesting enough, I don't know if you saw this, but Joey Votto, who's having a great year,
sure is,
came out in the media and very atypical, like, because most hitters never give credit to the other teams, especially pitchers. He said that the Brewers pitching staff was by far the best he has ever seen in his career, which is, and you're talking about starters, relievers. He was talking about their staff, which was a huge compliment. So,
and Votto strolls into Cooperstown, doesn't he?
I think he does. I think one of the things that's really cool about him is that how he is himself has evolved as a hitter and made changes throughout the course of his career to say, you know what, I can adapt to this style of pitching. I can adapt to this style of baseball, and he's done a remarkable job, and it's been fun to watch for sure.
Game of adjustments, and he's always getting better. Now, I like him. He doesn't bother me, but I know a lot of fans that are opponents of the Reds that he can be a little quirky. He can be a little meddlesome.
He's very sensitive. We represent him. I mean, and yeah. I don't know him, but he's with the same group that represents Pujols and Manny Machado and Tatis and amongst others.
He can be high maintenance.
He's a different guy.
But I'm going to give him credit for this. If the umpire calls a strike and he didn't swing and miss or foul it off, he's always grumbling, and replay usually justifies him.
No, it usually does, and I will tell you, he unlike Mookie never says anything to the umpire ever, and I respect that. And in the same regard, I don't disrespect Votto because, like you said, he's usually right.
He's usually dart him. And when you're watching a game, I know how Jim Edmonds used to drive a lot of opponent fans of the Cardinals crazy with all the twisting and quirkiness. And Votto can do that. He doesn't bother me. I love watching him play. But the Reds are right there. David Bell doing a good job with him. Kevin Cash and the Rays. Why won't somebody just still everything they do, everything in the scouting, everything in player development, everything in on field, the 3 or 4 year body of work for Kevin Cash, 3 years, it's been extraordinary. Now they got to hang on. I think they will. They're up 6 in the loss column over the Yankees, and that will relegate the Yankees and the Red Sox to that one gamer, unless, of course, Rob Manfred decides on the fly that, no, it can't just be one game. It'd be too good TV of TV. Let's have 2 out of 3.
Don't even say that.
I know. He might do it.
No, here's what I'll tell you about, and I think we talked about it a little bit. I think what the Rays have been able to do with and I'm not, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of too much of the analytics. However, I think the Rays have mastered the fact that their philosophy and their analytics paired up with their type of player that is a young player that's trying to make his way. They already know that once he gets to free agency, he's leaving. So I don't know that philosophy and that concept works at every major league team, because you've got superstars and you've got certain things that you're going to do, and you're going to play these guys all the time. Whereas with the Rays, they've been able to take young pitchers and kind of piecemeal a game. Now, I will tell you this, and I had lengthy conversations with Mookie about it. When they took Snell out of the game because of all the analytics, told them to do that, that was the biggest mistake they ever made. And I know I've faced many of pitchers that are pitching against us, and they are owning us. It doesn't matter if they would have brought in Goose Gossage or Mariano Rivera. We're going to hit that guy.
Yeah,
because
they celebrated when he came out.
That's exactly right. Because the Dodgers were not sniffing Snell at the time. They weren't even close, and Mookie wasn't close. And that was like a breath of fresh air. Hey, we got a shot now. If this reliever comes in and makes a mistake, and boom, it happened. And so I think sometimes you can over-analyze some of the stuff instead of allowing managers to go with their gut. The problem is managers can't go with their gut, because if they make a mistake, they're fired. So, especially young managers. And I think in today's culture, it's like their wives are saying, "You better do what the boss says, because we need the job."
Yeah, and I'm kind of with the wife. That's been my mentality. If the boss says to do something, I try to do it. Because I love the 1st and the 15th, Tim. I do, and I really have to have it. It's too early for retirement yet. The Red Sox and the Yankees in that one gamer, for all the shots that I give to Rob Manfred and the expanded playoffs, and more playoffs are coming next year, that will be must-watch TV.
Oh, there's no question it'll be must-watch TV. I just hope that everybody's healthy on both sides, and I hope Sale is the guy pitching. That will be even more must-watch TV.
It will make it that way.
What a game that could be.
And now the comeback to the current is, I can say, I can remember when it was must-watch one game too, in the 78 one-game tiebreaker when Bucky Dent got a new middle name.
How about that? That was amazing.
And that day, my mother, she knew I wasn't sick, and she fell for that act. She knew better than that, and she let me pull that one off to stay home from school to watch it on TV. And Bucky Dent hit a home run that broke the hearts in New England. Tony La Russa rocks along, staying in first place. It's just a matter of when, not if, for them to have the champagne celebration, winning the Central. But that's not why he came back. The story of him sitting out 10 years in between World Series championships, that you couldn't make a movie like that.
No, you couldn't. And parts of me want to see them, because I think it would be good. It would be good for the game for us to continue to talk about that. And,
does he walk away if he wins again? I mean, he's not coming back in 10 more.
I don't know. You know what? I don't think so. I don't think he does. I think this is. I mean, this being around it, all sports, but once it's in your blood, I mean, you don't know anything else.
You don't.
And he's already done the whole
stuff,
retired. He's already been the consultant.
He's been in the Hall of Fame.
Office. He's done it all, right?
Yeah.
So what's he going to do? I mean, you can only play golf so many days a week, so you're not like Wolo, who could play 7 days a week.
Oh, that's so good. You got a shot in even in his absence.
Well, it's not playing golf for Wolo. It's research and development.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
That's what he does.
I would love an ALCS of these two old war horses, no love lost from way back. Dusty Baker versus Tony La Russa. Don Tony versus Dusty.
Wouldn't that be good? That would be good. And I tell you what, that's a pretty good matchup, to be honest with you.
And Tim, it's why you better be careful just stereotyping, because earlier this year I was talking about when they met earlier this year, first time they met this year, that I said, oh, yeah, it's always been easy for Tony La Russa. When he looks over that other dugout, he loves seeing Dusty Baker. And then after I make those idiotic comments, I looked up the record. It's about 500. They beat it.
Yeah.
It's like 102 to 99, something like that. It's no big difference at all.
Well, I tell you what, I think they're both great managers. And to be honest with you, I think, and I know I've mentioned this on the show many times, but I think some of the best managers are the ones that can get out of the way and just let players play. And they spend their time trying to figure out the mentality, the personalities, what makes players click, and how to communicate or how not to communicate. So often young coaches and managers try too hard, and then when they try too hard, they get in the way because players are pretty smart. I mean, even at younger age groups. So those two guys are, constantly playing checkers and chess and figuring out what could happen and what not. And obviously with their careers and the success they've had, they've made most of the right moves.
Last thing for Tim Doolin on baseball. We talked about the Reds in that wild card spot. Can the Padres catch them?
I don't know. I really don't think so. I think the Padres are going in the wrong direction. I think their pitching staff has really struggled. I think that firing Rothschild was not a good move. I think it was kind of a scapegoat move. Pitchers, especially pitchers, players don't like that. And again, they're one of the many in the big leagues that a lot of the moves are being made. A lot of the decisions during the course of the game are being made by the front office. Either pregame or I wouldn't be shocked if it was during the game. So I just think they're going in the wrong direction, and I don't think they can right the ship, to be honest with you.
Tim, thank you so much for your time. Have a great, safe weekend. We'll do it again next Friday. We'll be one step closer to the best time of year, October baseball. Thank you, Tim.
All right, Stats. Thank you, buddy.
You got Tim Doolin with us every Friday talking baseball, and we're getting close to playoff time and the ceremonial red, white, and blue bunting being out for Major League Baseball. Tonight, high school football all over town, all over Shelby County, all over our area, North Mississippi, Eastern Arkansas. We talk about it on Fridays with Glenn Rogers. Coach Rogers from MUS, he's up next on Sportstime.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you. For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Whether you're driving for distance, pitching for precision, or putting to win it all, come to Edwin Watts Golf Shop to get custom fit for all your clubs throughout your bag. Hit a few balls and let our team show you the latest swing technology and data that will help optimize your game. Having each club tailored to become your gamers will help you start shooting lower scores. Let Edwin Watts Golf Shops help you make every shot the perfect one. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
The original Hot Dog Factory and Spike's Wing, located at 4265 Hacks Cross Road near 385. The menu offers a variety of all-beef hot dogs with over 20 choices. Try some of the best-selling favorites like the Bacon Wrap Memphis Dog and even sausages like Street Polish, Italian, or Jamaican Jerk Chicken. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 till 10, and Sunday, 11 to 8. Catering and event hosting is available. Have your next meeting or family gathering at the original Hot Dog Factory. Now hiring team members. Apply in person. The original Hot Dog Factory and Spike's Wing.
I'm Dr. George Flynn, Chairman of the Board of Flynn Broadcasting. Other stations might consider you to be a listener. I don't, and we don't. You are a family member, and I want the best for you and your family. So please get vaccinated against COVID. It saves hospitalizations and can save your life. I've had 3 rounds of vaccines on clinical trials with no side effects other than maybe a sore arm for 24 hours. I want to protect you, my family, and would never suggest something that might harm you. Please get vaccinated and feel safe in knowing you've done your part to beat COVID-19. I care about you, so please get vaccinated. All of us at Flynn Broadcasting want to keep you healthy, so please get vaccinated.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Week 3 for high school football tonight. I was out there 2 weeks ago for week 1, and I loved it being at the Ridgeway Houston game. And that night watching Houston really kind of have their way with Ridgeway on the wrong side of the sportsmanship rule. But I texted John Varlas, and I think I texted you, Glenn Rogers, and I know how much respect you have for Deron Sutton and the Ridgeway program. Even on the wrong side of the sportsmanship rule, they were fighting their you-know-whats down to the end of the game, and I love that. They never quit.
Yeah, good afternoon to Stats and all our listeners. And, you're right. Deron Sutton football team is going to always give you everything they got. Even when they're down, they're going to keep fighting. And that's just the sign of a good coach and a good program. And, give credit to his coaching staff for not letting the guys believe that they should give up. You got to fight to the end, to the last horn sound.
And they will improve week after week of this season. Tonight, a great schedule. White Station at Collierville, MBA at East, Innsworth at Christian Brothers, and you will be with MUS playing St. Benedict. Let's start with your game, MUS and St. Benedict. How's the year starting for the Owls?
Well, we're 1-1. We lost a tough ball game last week, Dave, to Germantown, and I tell you, Germantown has got a very good coaching staff. It starts with their head coach Gene Robinson and his staff, but he's got two kids, Dave, that really stand out. The linebacker Marion Claybrooks, number 1, and then the quarterback, Malik Young, number 2. Those 2 kids, they didn't have a season last year, but I tell you stats. If somebody's not recruiting those 2 kids, that somebody's missing the boat.
They will be.
Excellent player. They can run. Clay Brooks is an aggressive, fast linebacker who can tackle. And then Young, the quarterback, he's just a great athlete. He can escape. Probably on the next level, he won't play quarterback, but I tell you, with the ball in his hands, he's an electrifying young man. So we lost that game last week. We got Joey Magnifico tonight in St. Benedict. And, Joey's off to a rough start, 0-2, but he's a young coach. Very young team. If he's got a freshman quarterback, he starts. So, anytime you go in with a freshman, that probably doesn't bode well with the guys who were left behind. I mean, the cover probably was empty, but we're going to go in and try to take care of our business and get back on the winning side.
And for Joey Magnifico tonight, he'll look across that sidelines, and he's young. He's just starting. Just out of the gate, looks across at Bobby Austin. It's been around forever.
That's right. Coach Austin is a seasoned veteran coach, a Hall of Fame coach. Congratulations to Coach Austin being inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. They just had the ceremony this summer, but he's right. He's going to look across at a coach that's been there a long time, a seasoned vet, and our staff has been together probably longer than probably any staff probably in this state. We've all been together probably 16 or 17 years.
That speaks a lot of y'all and a lot of him, and that's the continuity the MUS has enjoyed at the head coaching position and in the staffs from Jake all the way now through Coach Austin. Ensworth at Christian Brothers night. Christian Brothers with Dallin Hayden already committed to Ohio State. Will sign in the early period with them, and an offensive lineman. He's going to play offense at Arkansas. Eli Savoy tells me he's really a nasty player on defense for the brothers right now. Patrick Cutis, he will be an offensive lineman. Those 2 are big time. You go into Ohio State and play offensive line for Sam Pittman, you can go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the old lineman, I tell you, he's a road grader. He's big, he's physical, he's very aggressive, got good feet. Arkansas is getting a great player out of that young man, and then. We all know Dallin Hayden. I mean, the pedigree speaks for itself. His brother, his dad, Aaron Hayden, a former great Tennessee ball and NFL guy. And, once again, the next game is going to come down to tackling. Tommy McDaniel is going to turn back and hand that ball off to Dallin. However many times he feels like it's necessary to get the ball game, and he's going to rely on that old line up front. And then Christian Brothers defensively, they don't do anything fast. They just say, look, we're going to line up and be aggressive up front and allow linebackers and safety roam and make tackles. And so it'll be an interesting game because Ensworth got good athletes. They lost a tough game last week to Baylor. Phil Mass and Bubba Burr out there in the Chattanooga and really ran the ball with some authority and came out throwing the ball all over the place on Ensworth. I mean, they came out, and it's uncharacteristic of Phil Massey coming out with just bombs away, and they hit a couple of big plays early to get Ensworth behind the 8 ball.
I like what Major Wright has done in his career. I like what he's doing now at Central, at the high school, and he's having the time of his life doing it with his son playing quarterback.
Absolutely. Major's another outstanding coach. Coaching is in his blood like mine. His dad was a high school coach for a long time, and, anytime your son is playing for you, it's a different ball game because when you go home at night as a son, you got to hear everything what went on.
It never ends.
I've been in those shoes before, them long rides home or long rides to school, but you got mom there to take some of the edge off, take some of the pressure off. And so just hats off to Major. He's got the Central program rolling back to respectability. And, they're going to have their hands full tonight, but I think they'll pull the win off him. Major, he does an outstanding job of just having certain plays that he believes in, and he's going to run them come hell to high water.
I know you have some partiality to your high school and to where you work now, but I don't know if any uniform tops Central's. Maybe Melrose, but that's both of those. That's a good look.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And traditional school, Crump Stadium's right there. E.H. Crump. I know they probably renamed the stadium, but I just love the way they revitalized that stadium and then let it die down. And Major's got it right there in his backyard. Like you said, Stats, we've been looking at Central, colors and Melrose colors for years and years and years, and there are 2 good-looking uniforms, and the kids represent the schools well.
Tonight, maybe the best game in town, Whitehaven at Germantown.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I just talked about Gene Robinson, but, you know, Rodney Salisbury is another outstanding coach, great motivator, a guy that always going to promote his players, he and his staff. And, you know, we scrimmaged Whitehaven early this year, and I tell you, they got some kids on that defense that flies around, and, you know, and I mean, and Derek Bobo, the D coordinator, has them playing aggressively. And Gene Robinson, like I just told you about Clay Brooks and his quarterback Young, I'll tell you the stats, that game is going to be worth the price of admission. It's one game I would love to see. If we weren't playing, I'd be right there with my popcorn and hot dog ready. And I think it's going to be just one of those heavyweight fight type games. Both of them like to run the ball, especially, you know, Germantown. It can be 3rd and 9, and they're going to try to pound the ball down. It's just, you know, we got a good dose of that last week. But you know, Gene Robinson going home back to Whitehaven where he played high school football. He was a star coming out of Whitehaven, and a lot of guys on his staff played at Whitehaven. So two colossal teams facing off. And like I said, it's going to be a game to see tonight. That'll be the game I want to see the most definitely tonight.
Glenn, we're close on time tomorrow night. Are you going to be at Tiger Lane, and your prediction for your Tigers season win total?
Well, I think the Tigers going to take care of business tomorrow. You know, I won't be there tomorrow. It's my lovely wife and I's anniversary this weekend, our 22nd anniversary. So I'm going to spend a little quality time with my wife. Yeah, spend a little quality time with her. Actually, our anniversary is Sunday, but I'm going to spend a little quality time with her tomorrow and Sunday. And good luck to Coach Silverfield and the Tigers. You know, I think we're easily staring at 7 wins. Could be more, could be less. But I tell you, starting off 1-0 is a good start to 7-8 wins. And, you know, I'm just real interested to see when the Tigers get into the meat of the schedule. You know, I'll be at the Mississippi State game. I love to see when we go up against SEC competition because that tells me how we stack up against the big boys.
I know you do. Glenn, good luck to you and to MUS tonight. Thank you for your time, and we'll do it again next Friday.
Absolutely, Stats. Thank you, and go Tigers, go, baby.
You got it. Glenn Rogers, you can tell he's going to be pulling for his Tigers tomorrow night. Of course he would after his dad there, and he was there. What a great story. We appreciate having Glenn with us. MUS and St. Benedict tonight, really good schedule. You'll be at Houston High for Cordova and Houston. We come back, final hour. It begins with Greg Gaston talking Tigers and Big 12 realignment. That's next.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new, latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you. It's finally time to get out of the house. So make sure you stop by Family Leisure with great prices on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active with play gyms, in stock, ready for delivery. And by the way, installation from the pros, I always recommend that. Markdowns on remaining game room products and those beautiful massage chairs. And the hot tubs, they're going fast. Get out of the house and get to Family Leisure. Wooden Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Italian Tuesday spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9, Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, golf, or real estate, having the winning coach makes all the difference in your success. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and I'm with Coach Terry Tippett, winner of 6 state basketball championships. Coach, what's been the secret to your and your team's successes?
Sheldon, there's no one secret. It becomes a pattern of success after coaching for so many years and learning the ins and outs of the game and the players, a lot like the pattern of your success in selling homes.
Thanks, Coach. Like you and your program, I developed my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option, and I also tried to use it in my golf game.
Sheldon, tried is the optimum word. You better stick to selling homes, as you're always hitting holes in one at that, instead of double bogeys.
Thanks a lot. And if anyone is thinking of selling their home, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 coaches. I mean real estate brokers. Let me be one of them. You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com and be a winner.
One of the things I love about betting on FanDuel Sportsbook is you get more than one shot. Right now, new and existing users can get up to $25 back in site credit each day. Just place a minimum 5-leg baseball parlay, and if it falls 1 leg short, you get up to $25 back with parlay insurance. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook's America's #1 sportsbook. In addition to the parlay insurance, if you haven't tried FanDuel Sportsbook yet, new users can place your first bet risk-free. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code CASH to get in on the action. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25 per game. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this Friday football fiesta. A lot of college football left to talk about. At 5:30, we will do our First National Bank and Trust Friday football focus, where we pick a lot of the games and talk about the games and look forward to the weekend. We talk Tigers with Greg Gaston coming up momentarily. We missed Greg yesterday. We're glad to have him today. FanDuel Sportsbook, they're hooking up new users with enhanced 30-1 odds for the first big game of college football this year. That's Georgia and Clemson tomorrow night. That's right. Pick either Georgia or Clemson to win, and you could turn a $5 bet into $150. I love Georgia in this game. They've won 6 out of the last 7 when they play the Clemson Tigers. Sign up and make your first deposit to kick off the college football season on America's #1 sportsbook. There's no better place to bet college football than FanDuel Sportsbook. Easy to use, fast payouts, #1 rated sportsbook app, and the promotions are outstanding. So make the most out of college football this weekend and this year. Do it this weekend with the enhanced 30-1 odds on Georgia against Clemson. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10 unless otherwise indicated. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road in DeSoto County, but they're very proud to serve the entire area, DeSoto County and beyond. 662-890-7184. Come on down and check out the cars. They're all test-driven, all thoroughly examined and inspected, checked out from bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts taken. You'll be treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they do care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. You walk in, you find the car you want, test drive that car, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour, in 45 minutes to be exact. It's that simple at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Head on down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience. Virginia Tech and North Carolina about to kick off. Justin Fuente in his opening game there at Virginia Tech. Ryan Silverfield here in Memphis getting ready for his opening game tomorrow night in year 2 for him as head coach of the Memphis Tigers. Greg Gaston from the Tiger sideline joins us every week, usually on Thursday. Will be next week. But Greg had an engagement yesterday, and we were glad to accommodate him because we sure want to visit with him. He's brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mid-South Hobbies, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, 3A Collisions, and Neil's Bar and Grill. Greg, you love it like I do. There's something special about opening day, opening night, isn't it?
And it's great when they stretch it out to games every single day, it seems like, including Monday's game. Of course, you'll be involved in the broadcast of the Ole Miss game. We'll have it for you right here on Sports 56, but I love it. There was the UAB game Wednesday, games last night. I am sitting here. You just mentioned Virginia Tech, North Carolina. I'm sitting here in my living room. They just kicked off, so as I speak to you, I'm watching that. And, of course, we got an array of games tomorrow, one on Sunday. But the big game, of course, for me, working the sidelines, is Memphis and Nichols to kick things off at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, sir, and you got it right. They very much want to be Nichols, so that's what we will call them. And tomorrow night with Nichols, it will be Lindsey Scott, not son of that one, but son of Lindsey Scott Sr., because this is a junior. It'll be Lindsey Scott, and a lot of run-pass option for him, and we're still wondering who it will be for the Tigers at quarterback.
Yeah, look, there's some questions still to be answered, and the most important question is going forward at the quarterback position. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing that Ryan Silverfield will go into this game with the or at quarterback. You're going to see both those quarterbacks. You could possibly see Keelan Brown in there for a series. So there's that possibility of using 3. I think it's an extended camp, basically, in game 1. Not that they will take Nichols for granted. How can you, a team that averaged 50 points per game last year and is a ranked FCS team? But I do believe that this is an opportunity to see both these quarterbacks in game action. Obviously, Grant Gunnell has the experience of having played a bit in the Pac-12, and Seth Hennigan hasn't played at all, being a true freshman coming right out of high school in a state championship in Texas. So there's nothing that you have to do as far as announcing a starting quarterback for game number 1. And Ryan Silverfield has elected not to do that. So we'll see what these guys bring to the table tomorrow night.
I know there's been some redshirt freshman quarterbacks. Danny Wimprine was one, and back in 1987, and engineered a big 16-10 upset win over Ole Miss in front of 65,000 people. Rusty Trail from Far City High School, a good friend of mine, not in 1987 as a redshirt, but from playing high school football the September before to starting for the Tigers, I don't remember one.
No, it's quite the transition, but it's a little bit different for Hennigan and for, quite frankly, a lot of young football players in this day and age. They graduate school early. They arrive he was there for spring. So this isn't a guy who's just arriving in the summer and got his first taste of practice in August. He already had a spring session under his belt. He's been there since that spring semester, had the off-season workouts, been around the team, and then went through a full camp. So he's a little bit ahead of the game as compared to some others in the past.
I know everybody's talking about the quarterback battle, but Brandon Thomas listed as the starting running back over Marquavius Weaver and Rodriguez Clark, who got most of the carries last year. What is the staff like in Brandon Thomas?
Well, I saw Thomas for a little bit last year. He played in just a handful of games and snaps, but when he played, he seemed to bring it. He ran really, really hard. And I know last year was an issue for the running game for the Tigers. And that's not all on the running backs, as you guys know. A lot of that has to do with the blocking by the receivers, by the tight end, and obviously the offensive line. But Thomas brings something that they absolutely love. I mean, every coach that I've spoken to, whether it's offensive coordinator Kevin Johns or head coach Ryan Silverfield, they really love this guy. He comes out of Little Rock, so he's an Arkansan, like our friend Brett, and he brings it to the table. Now, Marquavius Weaver, I thought he did some good things last year. He's listed at 2. The surprise is Drake Clark, out of Starkville High School, who had a really good start to his career at Memphis, trying to follow in those long lines of great running backs from going back to obviously D'Angelo, but in recent years, you know the list with Darrell Henderson and Pollard and Gainwell and
Patrick
Antonio
Taylor
Gibson a couple of years ago, Patrick Taylor. So he just wasn't that running back, at least at the beginning of his career. Then he got hit with an injury. It put him behind the 8 ball, and now the competition has him sitting there as third-teamer on the depth chart. But I believe Clark will get his opportunity like all those running backs will. Ryan Silverfield used a bunch of them last year. He's going to use a bunch of them this year. It would be great to see one of them really step up and take the bulk of the totes. But I don't know. I can't sit here and say that that's going to happen. But I do expect improved play with the offensive line. And with that, that should open up some things for the running game.
And I think I know this. I think it's a good problem for the Tigers to have the ors, to have the question marks, because I think it means they're not just having to settle on anything. And last year, the disappointment in the running game, Greg, and you touched on it, it's the high bar that's been set. Almost any running back in any offensive line grouping might have had a few scuffles after this torrid run Tiger football's been on in running the football.
Well, absolutely. First, your point about the ors, people look at the ors and they think that's a negative. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative. It means you have 2 guys that are pretty equal to win that job, whatever that position may be.
It's a great competition.
Right. It doesn't mean that you have 2 guys that are incapable. So don't look at it from a negative standpoint. Look at it from a positive standpoint. And then with the long history of these running backs, especially in recent history, remember last year it was going to be Kenneth Gainwell. But Kenneth Gainwell opted out. So it was a committee of running backs starting with Drake Clark. But, yes, it is asking an awful lot for another NFL running back. That says an awful lot about the coaches that have been at Memphis and the recruiters specifically who recruit that position, the particular states they look at, especially the state of Mississippi, and find those running backs. To have another one that's going to the NFL, 5 in a row, I think it is. So that's a big ask. The other big ask is to find a quarterback that follows in this line of Lynch, Riley Ferguson, and Brady White. They hope they have their guy. Maybe they have their guys, plural. And don't forget they have Tevin Carter, who will be a part of the quarterback room here in the not-too-distant future. So let's hope that the great recruiting that has really helped out Memphis in the last 6-7 years, going back to, you mentioned his name, Justin Fuente, let's hope that continues and they're able to find those aces in the hole.
Greg, I heard John Barlis with y'all today, great segment as always, and he made the point of how the Tigers are have the state of Mississippi and the players that they produce. Ole Miss and State, they can't get them all, and sometimes the Tigers have gotten players over them. And pound for pound, the state of Mississippi plays a high-quality brand of high school football, and the Tigers have tapped into it.
Well, you know it better than I, but it is unbelievable since I arrived here many, many moons ago about how that Magnolia State produces football players. It's uncanny. You can look at lineups, you can look at rosters throughout the country, and you'll see guys that played in high school in Mississippi, or they went to JC in Mississippi and then moved on to Division I college football, many of them moving on to the National Football
I'm going to blow your mind with this one. The top 4 players right now at Rivals in the state of Mississippi, none of them are going to Ole Miss or State. It's Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, players like that. Brian, I know you wanted to ask, a defensive question.
Yeah, so we saw some kind of, it was a decent defense last year. What kind of strides can they make under Mike McIntyre in his second year? An older defense, the secondary is very old with a lot of veterans. What kind of jump can they make?
I think they can make a great jump. Last year, again, without having the full spring practice, having Zoom meetings instead of personal interviews and practices with the coaches right there. It was messed up. Everybody knows how bad. And then when you have a new coordinator like Mike McIntyre last year, it's hard to be on the same page. But you saw as the season progressed, the defense start to come together better because you have a whole different scheme with what Mike McIntyre brings to the table. He goes 3-4. His predecessor went 4-3. So now to have the spring session under their belts, to have the off-season under their belts, and a full year of players that are all basically back, and there's a few that aren't, like T.J. Carter, but there are a lot that return, like you said, right, with the veteran players, now having another year to learn under Mike McIntyre, who is just a tremendous coach. I cannot see this unit not improving immensely. And I mean, look, we know it's an offensive show, college football, in this day and age, but I think the Tigers could do a good job of getting teams' offenses off the field and giving the ball over to Gunnell or Hennigan or whoever's going to quarterback to try to put points on the board. They are deep. They're the deepest. Ryan Silverfield told us on Thursday. They're the deepest they have been since he's been there as far as defense is concerned. And that's at all positions. That's the defensive line, especially the linebackers, but the secondary has a lot of veteran players, and they go easily too deep. So, yes, I expect a lot of improvement from that side of the ball.
Greg, if college football, if it were a tug of war, do you see the tape being pulled back a little, fractionally, scantily, back to maybe slowing down a little bit in this pace of play because we're killing our defenses?
Not if the rules don't change, because the rules, as you know, are favoring the offenses. And we may see still these really good defensive units at Alabama or at Ohio State. There's a few of them out there, and those are normally the schools, right, and the programs that are in the hunt for the national championship. But I don't know, maybe a little bit, Brett, but I haven't really noticed it. Certainly there's good defensive players out there. Just look around the National Football League. They started somewhere. But as far as complete defensive units, there's just not a lot of real good ones out there. And if you can have that defensive unit that is good or at least competitive, you have a chance because most offensive units can put points on the board.
Tough time to be a defensive coach. It's not a lot of fun, and it's why most of the jobs, most of the head coaching hires from somebody from the coordinator backgrounds going to the offensive side because that wins the press conference. Last night, it was on display at Tennessee. Tennessee fans seemed very happy, especially in that first half, with that rapid-fire pace of play. So tomorrow night, a new quarterback. I'm looking forward to it, Greg. I was talking earlier kind of in a little sermonette about I'm always excited about college football season, and I always defend the college football of right now. Right now is the best time in the history of college football. This is peak college football because it turns over, it changes. You know, we've gone Paxton, Riley, Brady, and now a new signal caller. Somebody's gonna be the guy going to Jonesboro.
Yeah, there's always excitement. Look, change sometimes is good. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but you became so comfortable as a Tiger fan with Brady White, with the leader, the cerebral play of that veteran quarterback.
And he was Cal Ripken of Tiger football, wasn't he?
He was, absolutely. He was a coach on the field. He was what Cal was for those great Orioles teams. But you have the question mark of whether or not, I know he had a little bit of an ankle in August. Ryan Silverfield says he's 100%. There's no issues with his health. You have the experience of him having played in the Pac-12. But I think most people believed when it was all said and done with camp before game one that there would be a clear-cut Grant Gunnell winning the job. Again, if we go back to what we talked about earlier, it doesn't mean that there's a deficiency with Gunnell. What it says is Seth Hennigan and even Keelan Brown have had really, really good camps. And there's no rush. Again, this is a game you should win. You should beat Nichols. No, this is no disrespect to Nichols. You should beat that team. And if it goes according to plan, you can see a lot of different players. And then you can but continue to evaluate as you get ready for a tough roadie at Jonesboro and then, of course, Mississippi State coming to town.
talking about the quarterbacks and some of the weapons they have, if you look at the receivers, I mean, it's kind of completely opposite of what you look at when you look at the defense. A lot of youth. You got Calvin Austin, you got Gabriel Rogers that are both redshirt seniors, but after that, almost all redshirt freshmen. How big of a role will Calvin Austin play this year with new quarterbacks and all that youth around him?
Well, look, he's the obvious go-to receiver, but remember, he's not going to be some secret weapon that defenses don't know about, that teams, that opponents don't know about. They know about Calvin Austin. And you'll see a lot of double teams on Calvin Austin, although I think at times he'll be able to beat double teams with his speed. Other guys have to step up. I think Ivory will be the key. You mentioned Gabe Rogers. He may be a veteran as far as the class he's in, but he's not a veteran with that position. Remember, they moved him. He was a member of the defensive secondary, so he doesn't have a lot of experience as a receiver. He's a good kickoff returner. He's got a lot of speed, but he has to step up. Luckily, they still have the old reliable veteran, Sean Dykes, one of the better tight ends in the country, not just the conference. And so I believe they will utilize that tight end position. But, Brian, there's no doubt there's going to have to be a couple of other guys that step up catching the ball to give Calvin Austin some help.
Greg, I don't know which way conference realignment goes, but I know the Tigers still are in the best position they've ever been in football since you've been here. Heck, most of my life, me watching it, I don't know how it shakes out, but still a good year ahead. What was your final win total on your show?
I had them going 9-3.
I hope you're right and I'm wrong. I was at 8-4. Bryant was at 8-4. Dave was at 8-4. 8-9 seems to be the neighborhood, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I think, again, the ceiling, a really special year would be 10. I think the basement would be 7. Anything under 7, even a 6-win season, which qualifies you for a bowl, would be a bit disappointing. Hey, look, it doesn't help that Tulsa looked bad yesterday in losing to Cal Davis. And that's one of the teams that people look at as a possible problem for Memphis. And I certainly looked at that as well, but I had them beating Tulsa. It doesn't mean because they performed poorly last night that that'll be the case when they play Memphis, obviously. But I think right around 8 is a good, I think, safe play. I think 9, maybe I'm going a little bit higher than what most would, but I think it's certainly doable. There are games that I just believe they're going to have trouble with. UCF, who obviously they beat this past year at home, I think it's going to be a little bit different story in Orlando. We all expect Houston to take that step up under Dana Holgorsen. They better for their sake and for Dana's sake. So if that's the case, I think that'll be a tough game. Mississippi State right now, I would lean obviously towards Mississippi State. But, you know, Tulane and all the issues already because of the hurricane. Obviously, Tulsa is maybe not as strong as we think they are. They don't play Cincinnati on the schedule. Navy is not the Navy we know from a few years ago, plus you get them at home. And SMU, who is a really talented team, an offensive juggernaut under Sonny Dykes, they play them at home. And I think Memphis has always, at least recently, fared well against those teams that they can get into a shootout with. So I do like their chances. But again, the question mark is the quarterbacks stepping up. How good are they going to be right off the bat? Will they take to this offense right away? Will there be chemistry among all these players on that offensive side when we know there was under the leadership of Brady White?
Greg, thank you for your time today. We'll talk about it again next Thursday. I know you're ready for tomorrow night. I know you're prepared for tomorrow night. I know there will be professionalism for sure from you as always, and I know you're excited about tomorrow night. Best wishes to you.
Brett, thank you so much, and safe travels to you heading to Atlanta for the Rebels broadcast on Monday. Brian, thank you so much. We'll all talk next week.
You got it. Greg Gaston. You hear him on Sports 56 middays every day with Eli Savoy, and you hear him with us talking Tigers, usually on Thursday at 5 o'clock. Today, nice enough to accommodate us on Friday afternoon. He's brought to you by Mount Moriah Auto Sales, South Hall Cafe, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill. And we appreciate all those sponsors to Talk Tigers with Greg Gasson. So the 8-9 neighborhood, Drew went up to 10. I can see it. Last night may have opened up some route to 10.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this multiple times. I know I've said it a couple times. 8 wins is not a bad season at all. It is a great season, and I think Dave brought it up yesterday.
What was Gabe's number? Why can't I find that?
I don't remember. I think I might. I thought I had a schedule next to me.
Yeah.
But I think Dave brought it up yesterday that Memphis has won 8 games in the last 7 years. So if you can continue that and make it an 8th year with 8 wins or more, that would be phenomenal.
Gabe Kuhn, big number 71, 9-3.
Wow.
So
Okay.
Gabe and Greg there, I hope they're right and I'm wrong. I hope you're wrong too.
I hope I'm wrong. and like you said, it's not like some wild number for them to get to 9-3. It's very, very realistic that they could get to 9 wins.
Starting tomorrow night against Nichols, 6 o'clock at the Liberty Bowl. Everybody have fun and enjoy. So many great vehicles to look at All-Star Chevrolet, the new All-Star Edition Silverado trucks. They're at All-Star Chevrolet today, open all weekend. So many certified pre-owned Chevys. If it's a Chevy you want this fall, you got to start kickoff at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, off 78 at Kraft Goodman Road. Olive Branch is where you want to be. If you have a car or truck to sell, All-Star will buy it, even if you own it, or bring the title in and get your check today. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not the Pike, not Mount Moriah, not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, the good folks at All-Star Chevrolet. Drew, Scott, the whole team, talking Tigers, talking SEC, having fun. They love any time of the year. They're like me. If they keep score, they like it at All-Star Chevrolet. So easy to find. The new roads to All-Star Chevrolet, or go online at allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, we'll have our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. We pick the games. We talk about the games. All college this week. Next week, we'll have some NFL as well. That's next on Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high quality, great tasting, and easy drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor, has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get you what you need your way. Get the job done today with our free same-day store pickup. Just order online and pick it up the same day at your local AutoZone. Or get it done tomorrow with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll deliver it to you the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery and eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Hey everybody, it's Rick Earwood, and you know in my day I've bought several homes. and nothing can be more overwhelming and time-consuming than trying to secure financing. Let me steer you in the direction of Tommy Cotham at Bartlett Mortgage, a guy that's been originating loans for 25 years in the greater Memphis area. Tommy does all products, conventional, FHA, USDA, VA. Maybe you're wanting to stay in your home now and just refinance. He can do that as well. So hey, go ahead, give Tommy a call at 901-335-7308. Get your pre-approval so you'll know what you can spend, find your home, and then pack your boxes and get ready to move. It's that easy with Tommy Cotham at Bartlett Mortgage. Call him today at 901-335-7308. Once again, that number, 901-335-7308. Tell him Rick told you to call.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Curtis Gentry, Bill Samish, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763, or the office in Collierville, or online at fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you. They're a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I have had an account, been a friend, and been a customer my entire life.
It is time to pick the games and talk about the games for the weekend. But first, thank you so much to First National Bank and Trust, a division, as I said, of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Thank you for being my friend. They are stable, they are secure, they are solid, they are reliable, and they just speak. They scream consistency, and we love having them with us and talking about all the college games. They're gigantic fans, and we're ready to break these games down. We start with 2:30 tomorrow on ABC. Alabama, 19.5-point favorite over Miami in Atlanta. The last time these two teams played was in the Sugar Bowl after the 1992 season, Gene Stallings' national championship. Bama, heavy underdog that night. With Brother Oliver's defense, Gino Torretta didn't know whether it was coming or going that night. It was his worst day of a great Heisman Trophy season for him that year. Bama against Miami, 19.5-point favorite for the Tide. Dave picks Alabama and lays the 19.5. What's Gabe's pick?
Gabe's pick, he's also going Bama and laying the 19.5.
All right, it's up to you, Bryant.
I'm going Miami. I'm taking Miami plus 19.5.
Taking the U, no group lock.
It's a lot of points. I think Alan Bell took the words out of my mouth. This is a new offense with a new quarterback. I think they're going to have some – I think they're going to start slow, and I think Miami can keep it close.
For all the new at Alabama, there's one big piece of ever-present, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Standing on those sidelines. Going to turn 70 on Halloween, Coach Nick Saban. You averted the group lock because I'm taking Alabama laying the 19.5. I say Crimson Tide rolls 45-13. Not even close. Texas Tech, 6:30 on ESPN. They're a 1.5-point favorite over Houston. That's Matt Wells against Dana Holgorsen. Greg said it. A lot of people have been saying it. We're waiting. We've been waiting on Dana Holgorsen. Old Southwest Conference rivals, future Big 12 brothers. Houston leads all-time 18-13-1 when most of those games played when they were in the Southwest Conference. Texas Tech, though, they've won 3 straight since 2020 when they run into the Houston Cougars. Dana Holgorsen against Matt Wells. I take Texas Tech, lay the 1.5. I barely get there, 38-35. Red Raiders. Your pick, Bryant.
I'm also going to go Texas Tech. I think we'll have to see what Houston can do. I think Greg talked about, are they going to make that jump this year under Holgorsen? I think they will, but I don't think it will be in game 1.
And Gabe's pick?
He also is going with Texas Tech.
Dave keeps it from being a group lock. Group lock success in the last few years, not very prolific during this segment on Friday, so it might be better for people out there to not hear us saying group lock. Dave takes the Houston Cougars plus the 1.5. That game will be played at NRG Stadium. I've got Texas Tech 38-35. Really the big game of the weekend. 6:30 ABC, Clemson against Georgia. So discussed, much talked about. Clemson, a 3.5-point favorite. That game at the home of the Panthers in downtown Charlotte. This is JT Daniels, JTD, against DJU, and it's also Dabo against Kirby. Great rivalry all time in the early 80s. Bruce and I were talking about it. Danny Ford against Vince Dooley. Those games always came down to the winner was playing for the national championship. I don't think anything has changed in this one. Next time they're scheduled to play, they could run into each other in the college football playoff. Next time they're scheduled to play, though, will be in 2029, that game on campus at Clemson. I've talked Georgia all week. I can't back off now. Dogs easily, 34-17 over Clemson. Yeah, straight up, big, easy, all that good stuff.
I think it's going to be closer. I think this one could be inside the 3 points. I'm going to take Georgia plus the 3.5, but I would not be surprised if it's a win or a lose by a field goal.
All right, Dave takes Georgia. He likes the 3.5 plus the points. What does Gabe?
Well, this is going to be our first group lock of the day because Gabe is going to go Georgia plus 3.5.
The ceremonial group lock, first one of the year. Listeners, callers, friends, countrymen, that means go out and load up on the Clemson Tigers. Straight across, Georgia. All four of us taking the Dogs. 7:30 on Fox. LSU travels out west. It's been a trying week. I shouldn't kid. It's been a trying week for everybody. South Louisiana, Gulf Coast related. LSU very displaced like Tulane. They are a 3.5-point favorite at UCLA at the fabled Rose Bowl Stadium. It's the alphabet soup game. LSU, UCLA, Cajuns in Tinseltown 1-0 for UCLA already this year, having defeated Hawaii last weekend. This ain't Hawaii. First meeting ever. Only the second time ever for LSU to play in California, in the land of cement ponds and movie stars. UCLA will return the game in 2024 in Baton Rouge. Either Chip Kelly or Ed Orgeron, the coach in 2024 when UCLA returns the game?
Probably not.
Couldn't you bet no on that on any coaches meeting this weekend?
I'm sure you could.
Just play the no. It would look smart. I'm going to take LSU. I'm going to lay the 3.5. I say 31-13. LSU, they will not look like they looked on opening day last year, the much later opening day in that ugly loss to Mississippi State. Who does Gabe take?
Gabe is also going to take LSU minus 3.5.
Who does Bryant take?
I'm going to take LSU minus 3.5. This one I went back and forth on a lot. I think UCLA looked good last week in their first game, but I think a lot of people are deceived because they were playing Hawaii, and Hawaii is not very good. I think this defense is going to look a lot better than they did last year, LSU's defense, and so I'm going to take them minus 3.5.
The crowd will be much better at the Rose Bowl than last Saturday, although they do have a lot of discounted tickets. That's going to be standard fare around college football this year, coming out of the pandemic, heading into the teeth of the variants, and the price. And we got used. I'm scared around sports that we got used to not going.
Yeah, because it's real easy to pick up that remote and turn it on in your comfy chair.
72 inches of high def it's really easy, and I think that's a challenge for everyone. I love the LSU fans. I love going down there, and it would be fun just to have the secret, the hidden camera on all those LSU fans in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
It will be something else. So Dave takes LSU, so group lock number 2 already. How about that? Maybe this is the year of group locks.
Maybe.
We need to change that. Sunday night, 6:30. Mentioned Mike Norvell needing that first big signature win. Justin Fuente out to the quick 7-0 lead for Virginia Tech in hopes of a first big signature win against North Carolina. Mike Norvell can get it Sunday night playing Notre Dame. If not the biggest, certainly one of the biggest names in the history of college football. 6:30 Sunday night on ABC, Notre Dame, a 7.5-point favorite. Florida State leads the all-time series 6-4. Notre Dame won last year playing in the ACC and winning the regular season in the ACC. They won it 42-26. These two teams first met in 1981 in South Bend. FSU won 19-13 then. Sunday night primetime for Mike Norvell. this is what he wanted. This is why he left Memphis. He wanted to be in these kind of games. Well, he's in it, and he gets Brian Kelly, who in the last 4 years is 43-8 at Notre Dame.
Man.
And he has had his stumbles in the college football playoffs, but that's Leigh Rockne Holt stuff.
Yeah, and he has looked really good with this team. He's built them up, and they're a fun team to watch.
Your pick?
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to take Florida State plus the points.
Do you like the upset, or you just like the points?
I just like the points right now. I think this is a big signature game, like you said. I think if they lose this one, Florida State fans have to remain loyal to Norvell because this recruiting class he comes in, I don't know if you've looked at it yet, it's scary.
Oh, is it?
Oh, they have got some really good players coming in next year.
Yeah, give them something to believe in. Don't go out and get plastered 45-3. And keep it close.
Yeah, and I think we've seen Norvell be that great offensive mind when he was here in Memphis. I think after a full year with this team, I think we saw some stuff go back and forth with players, coaches, all that. I think he has the trust of his team now, and I think they're going to put up some points.
I think he's big time, and it's a big game. I'm with you. I like the points, not the win, but I like it just narrowly, barely. I like the 7.5. Notre Dame wins 24-17. I get there by the half. Gabe's pick?
Gabe's going to go Notre Dame minus 7.5.
And Dave takes Notre Dame as well. So we have Florida State, Gabe, and Dave. They have the Fighting Irish. Monday night, ESPN, 7 o'clock, kickoff on ESPN, kickoff here on Sports 56 at 7. Pregame with Richard Cross and me and the whole crew with the Ole Miss team and the Learfield team from down in Atlanta. Ole Miss now a 10.5-point favorite. That's gone up all summer. Ole Miss 10.5-point favorite. We're not picking the over and under, but it's a big number. I'm taking Ole Miss 48-21. That doesn't get to the over, and that's the kind of win I think Ole Miss needs to win by that score, but also send the sign to people, we got a defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm also going to go Ole Miss. I think there's been a lot of talk around this team, around Matt Corral. I think that offense is going to look good. I'm just hoping that hype that they've heard all offseason about how good this offense can be hasn't gotten to their head. I think if it hasn't, I think they can make some fireworks happen.
I have Ole Miss friends scared to death. This is going to be a repeat of Labor Day night 2016 with that great first half against Jimbo Fisher in Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Then it all came apart, and that was kind of the end of Hugh Freeze at halftime of that game. Some have talked about the South Carolina game in 2009, but that was a later September game, not on opening night. First meeting ever between U of L and Ole Miss. Dave takes Ole Miss.
And Gabe also takes Ole Miss.
So another group lock. People, you can retire to Tahiti if our group locks have been like they've been in the past. Now a third one. College football lock time. I have Dave, his college football lock. You don't have to take a favorite, but you want to save that shock for the underdog. Northwestern, he takes Pat Fitzgerald's club against Michigan State, opening weekend of the season, Big Ten game. He lays the 3.5 with Northwestern.
Gabe is going to take Illinois minus 5.
Illinois minus. We got to add the half. We do not
push. 5.5.
And that's Illinois minus 5.5 this weekend for Brett Bielema. You take?
I'm going to take Marshall minus 2.5 over Navy. We've talked about Navy. I think is going to take another step back after not a really good season last year. Marshall had a really good offense last year. Now, they lost their last 3 games in a row, but they have Grant Wells coming back. He's a third-year freshman thanks to the extra year that every player got. And, he threw 2,091 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions last year. I think they're going to have a good game. I think they might not win by a ton, but I think they'll win by at least 3 points.
I take laying the 13.5, and my friend at First National Bank and Trust, Bill Samish, give me MIZZOU, Missouri, 42-17 over a Jim McElwain-less Central Michigan team. Appendicitis this week for Jim McElwain, a guy I like a lot. And it was going to be hard with him. It's going to even be harder in his absence in Columbia. I have Missouri as my lock minus 13.5. College football shock time. I'll start with tomorrow morning. Last year, opening night, and the tough loss to Michael Penix in Indiana derailed the whole season for COVID. It was tough all year. Give me James Franklin plus the 5.5. They win straight up. I get the 2 points for that. Penn State 28-24 tomorrow morning over Wisconsin.
And that was right on top, my number one pick for my shock, but I'll go different. I'm going to take Rice plus 19.5 against Arkansas. I think 19.5 is a lot of points, so I'll take Rice.
You just like the points. You don't like the straight-up
No,
upset.
I do not like the straight-up upset.
You don't have to call that part of it. Rice plus the 19.5 over the Razorbacks, their first meeting since 1991, the Razorbacks last year in the Southwest Conference. Dave takes Tulane plus the 31.5 over OU. Got a few more points by the game having to be moved to Norman, plus 31.5 for Willie Fritz. That's a lot of points.
Yeah. And then Gabe, he'll take Louisiana plus 9.5 against Texas.
Billy Napier plus 9.5 against Sark on opening day. And as I said earlier, if Billy Napier wins that one, he can name his price, and he's got the best agent in the business to do it. And they'll have plenty of ammunition if he has that upset over Steve Sarkisian. That's your Friday football forecast, brought to you every Friday by First National Bank and Trust. You can go to their website, fnbt.com, or call them at 901-498-5763, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas for real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, or recreational. Give them a call, 901-498-5763, our Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust. Look forward to doing that all season long, all the way through the bowl season in December and beyond in the NFL playoffs, and we will have NFL picks next week. When we come back, we wrap up this Friday afternoon with Taco Bell Crunch Time. That's next on Sports Time.
Get your day off to a great start with Peter Edmonston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Okay, confession time. I just finished back-to-school shopping. Nothing like the last minute, huh? Kohl's to the rescue. I got 25% off a JanSport backpack for my son, $17.99 So Jeans for my daughter, and 50% off Levi's for both kids. Levi's, can you believe it? I even got $10 off because I spent $25 and picked up Kohl's Cash. So, yeah, sometimes procrastination pays off. Select styles. 10 off 25 offer in September 6th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Guns & Ammo has a full line of Pro Shot products, a tremendous selection of accessories from belts, holsters, gun cases, specialty boxes, Benchmade knives, and assorted optics. At Guns & Ammo, enjoy selecting all your favorite firearms, from hunting supplies to target shooting to self-defense. Experience the excellence at Guns & Ammo with a friendly, knowledgeable staff and hundreds of guns to choose from. Guns & Ammo, 3615 Summer Avenue, Memphis local, and supporting the NRA and Friends of the NRA. Guns & Ammo, family owned since 1985.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get in fame.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brian, I know this. We've learned over the last 3 weeks, there's been a lot of predictions made, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And now we start playing. Talking season never ends for us, but predicting season is now coming to an end. What's been the wildest prediction you've heard on these airwaves? Caller, listener, texter, host, anything?
I can't even tell you. You're putting me on the spot now.
A&M 12-0 is not.
No, that is definitely not.
That is not.
No.
I mean, it's hard to go undefeated for anybody, but if they do that, as you've predicted, that is not. I also learned today that Matt Corral, last year, he became just the 4th SEC player ever to finish as the NCAA leader in total offense per game. He did that last year joining Pat Sullivan. Pat Sullivan did it in 1970. The next year, he won the Heisman Trophy. Rex Grossman at Florida did it in 2001. He was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy to Eric Crouch. Johnny Manziel did it in 2012. He won the Heisman Trophy that year. So having that mark either lends itself to something really good in that year or that next year. Can Matt Corral, Robert Griffin said win the Heisman. Is that the craziest preseason prediction?
It might be one of them, yeah.
That's close to it. What'd you learn today?
I learned that the Memphis Grizzlies are not done making trades. Earlier today, Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the Grizzlies have agreed to trade forward Juancho Hernangomez to Boston for guards Chris Dunn, Carson Edwards, and a 2026 second-round pick swap. So just when we thought they were done, they just keep making moves.
What are you going to do with your jersey?
That Hernangomez jersey, it was one of my favorites.
It'll be a collector's item.
Oh, yeah,
Did
sure.
they ever make it up? They're still over the 15-man limit, aren't they?
Yes.
We're getting close to camp time. We're getting close to Grizzlies time. I know the Grizzlies are tonight in North Little Rock, Arkansas at the Travelers game. Rob Fisher throwing out the first game tonight at Dickie Stevens Field. Yes,
How
he
about
is.
that?
I know he's excited about that. I told him, whatever you do, call it North Little Rock because that's where it is. And they're very particular about that. Grizzlies are wheeling and dealing. I like it. Most of it has been ancillary parts, though. I mean, all of it has been. It hasn't been a primary piece so far, but they are wheeling and dealing. Could have done without. Everybody cracking on the South Carolina quarterback tomorrow, Zeb Nolan. It's a fun story from GA to starting quarterback, but he played behind Trey Lance at North Dakota State, and he played in 7 games just last spring in the FCS playing their spring schedule due to COVID. In 2018 at Iowa State, He was 25 of 36 for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns against Oklahoma. So tomorrow, I bet he does okay against Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to do terrible, and I hope he has a good game, especially all the hate he's gotten.
But he has been cracked on.
Oh, man.
And Shane Beamer is running hot already. I'd like somebody to nicely tell Shane, you're 0-0, man. Lighten up just a little bit.
Just a little bit. What I could have done without is this switch it seems like we've gotten between the American and the Big 12. It sounded like at the very beginning, after Texas and Oklahoma announced they were going to go to the SEC, that the American was going to make the push to go out and get these Big 12 teams. Well, now it looks like that's reversed, as the Big 12 looks like they could offer Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF all invitations to the conference this month.
I think what will emerge, whatever the Tigers will be in, will be fine for football. And we've talked about it. And I'm not trying to be boorish about it, but it's a football thing.
Yeah.
I think they'll be okay for football. They'll still have to kind of be that power 6.
Yeah.
That Mike Resco always flew that flag. For basketball, some of those potential matchups on a Tuesday night or a Saturday afternoon, I don't think many people will be very, very interested in keeping a close eye on so much this weekend, including, and I think I'm going on Sunday afternoon to the Tour Championship at East Lake while I'm in Atlanta. Looking forward to seeing that.
Oh, that'll be so much
fun.
fun.
I'm not going to yell Brooksy. You don't want me to do that.
No. Well, it'd be a nice experiment.
I don't want to be kicked out anymore. I'm too old for that. I'm afraid they may press charges even.
They might.
I don't want to go down on a Brooksy yell. Also on Monday night, what I'm primarily going for entirely, Ole Miss and Louisville on Monday night, 5 o'clock pregame right here, 7 o'clock kick. Tonight, we'll watch the rest of this Justin Fuente game. He's off to a fast start and a 7-0 lead. This would be the signature win he's been waiting for, isn't it?
It'd be the signature win he needs. A lot of people talking about him on the hot seat. If he can win this game, that'd be big for him.
Tomorrow, all day. What a schedule. We both like Penn State. You didn't have to switch. You can.
I had a nice list of ones I liked. I like more than one.
We like Penn State. We like James Franklin in that game. Wisconsin's always what you see is what you get, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think you see I feel like those two especially. You always see really low scoring games between them, and so I think we'll see another low scoring. Another game. Speaking of Big Ten teams, I feel like I've talked about them a lot, but I'm really high on them. Indiana. I can't wait to watch them this year. A lot of people forget. I think they have 4 Memphians starting this year. So they'll be a lot of fun to watch. Michael Penix Jr., like I said earlier, could be one of the most entertaining quarterbacks in the country.
I really did. I missed seeing him in the Ole Miss bowl game, and his injury really hurt them that day. I love Tom Allen. Kirk Ferentz talked about that earlier. IU against Iowa. Sark's debut at Texas.
Oh, yeah.
With the Longhorns playing Billy Napier and Lou Lafayette and Georgia and Clemson. Who will be at quarterback tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, the first time the Tigers run out there on offense?
You want to make bets?
I'm going to go the freshman.
Really?
I'm going to go Seth Hennigan.
I'm going to go the veteran, Grant Gunnell.
Coca-Cola?
Sure.
Make it light on yourself.
Absolutely.
Coca-Cola next week. LSU Tigers at the Rose Bowl. Mike Norvell on Monday. And it will be fun to watch all the ball this weekend. And I can't wait to be with the Ole Miss Rebels in Atlanta on Monday night against Louisville. First time they will have ever played. 5 o'clock pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff on these airwaves. Want to thank Alan Bell from CBS Sports, Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet, Tim Doolin talking baseball with